The walls of time are breaking down. You need to listen. The only way to save the universe. Watch Type 40.
Time for Whovember and time for Type 40 Live, your live stream Doctor Who magazine show. The live stream Doctor Who magazine show materialising here on YouTube, Rumble and Facebook. Whichever platform, time stream or time zone you're joining us from, welcome. Yes, this is Type 40 Live, where we hit your screen in real time and always in front of a live chat full of friends, fans and companions just like you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Yes, this is where we talk about the world's longest running, best loved sci-fi and fantasy TV series and the whole Whoniverse around it, both on and off screen. Speaking of off screen, I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. We'll find out who you are in a couple of minutes. We're streaming this across Facebook, Rumble, and there to YouTube as always. If you're in the Facebook group, what have you got to do? Yeah, hit that little blue link. Hit the blue link. That'll let that lets Facebook tell us who you are through the wonder of StreamYard. Then we all get on first name terms for this conversation, this exploration of the explosion of Doctor Who interest just over the last few days. I'm absolutely full to the brim with it, but then again, I've been full of it for years. We're closing in on Doctor Who's 60th anniversary. It's just a few weeks away. Lots to talk about, lots to speculate on, and new Doctor Who to review and to share our views about, to compare and contrast and all that with the panel here in the console room with me. And yeah, we've got some bunting up this time. I'm happy to say we've got a birthday in Type 40. So let's actually I'll bring her on last. We'll give a bit of a drum roll for that. I'll bring him on first. We have, looking as natty as ever, Simon Horton.
Oh, I do like the way you introduce me, Dan. Listen, every week you say we'll find out who you are in a minute. You say that every single week. I still don't know who I am. Somebody please tell me who I am.
It's that scene from the TV movie where Paul McGann's sort of on his knees.
Who am I?
Who am I?
Who am I? Listen, I'll tell you who this is. That we do have Lenny. Lenny is in the building. I don't know how long Lenny will be in the building for, but he is he's in the building at the moment.
Well, he's having a good old lick there. I think I'd better leave you two alone. bring on the next one. Good to see you, Lenny. Who else have we got? Ah, yes, here she is. Starry-eyed girl, Sarah Graham.
Hello, everybody. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Yes, I've got the yellow pajamas on the Adric style.
Brilliant.
There we are.
In celebration of what I've been watching today, that might give it away a bit.
Oh, I see.
That's pretty close up. Very good.
What could it be that you've been watching?
How do you rate though? Excellence in mathematics or good or just
no?
average?
I barely scraped through my maths. I'm an English girl and history and things like that, not maths.
So your star is there for purely decoration?
Stephen Noonan gave me this star for helping him find that Pertwee jacket. So there you go.
Okay.
Oh, I see. Oh, very, very nice.
I hope he's
Very good.
watching. Hello, Steve.
Sarah has been Stephen's personal shopper of late, so it seems. Yeah, who else is here? Yeah, we can hear him, but we can't see him. It's the mega geek Ian David Diaz.
Oh, hello.
You are there.
I think we can hear him. He's there. Got you.
here.
Hello, mate.
You still haven't got that camera organised then yet.
No, I need to. Quite frankly, I need to get a new computer. So this is, I think it'll have to be after Christmas because Christmas is coming. I need every penny I can scramble basically for Christmas. So
we're not going to see you for months. We won't see you for months.
Well,
oh, forget what you look like.
Well, there's an avatar. That's what I look like.
Christmas is coming. The goose is getting fat. Put a little penny in the old man's hat.
Yeah.
And my computer's not working. So there you go. But I'm here though in spirit. I'm completely naked. So you guys don't know.
Oh, we need somebody to sort this all out. We need somebody to round up some common sense and reason and decorum. Unfortunately, well, I suppose I think I don't know about the latter, but he could definitely handle the former. I think he's absolutely the kind of bloke who can round something up dressed like this. I'm happy to welcome back. Yeah, Adam Charlton's back.
Wait,
Yeehaw!
look at you. Whip me. Where are you?
Texas.
Brilliant.
So,
Show off.
I know.
We've just caught you on the way back from a. Have you just on the way back from a hoedown? Is that what's
something like that.
Hoedown.
Something like that. Yeah.
Where are you in Texas? Can you tell us?
Yes, I'm in Dallas.
Oh, in Dallas.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Dan's favorite TV show.
Yeah, I love
absolutely.
Apart from Doctor Who.
Yeah, I'm getting stuck into Dallas. I'm about halfway through season 2 at the moment. Good to have you back on the show, Adam. I know you've been travelling all over the States the last few weeks, haven't you?
I have. I've been all over the place, mate, but I have been checking out a load of the Dallas locations for the TV show. I have driven my other half up the wall. I think he can't wait for me to go back to the UK next week so he can just relax. Because every time we go anywhere, I'm like, well, I think that building was in Dallas. Hang on, this cow ranch was in Dallas. I just take some pictures that I've driven him nuts. So,
to be fair, the show was on for 14 years. They probably filmed just about everywhere.
There's like 3 Ewing oils.
When I was down there, I went to South Fork Ranch. When I was down
yeah.
there. It's absolutely brilliant.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it really is great. So I had a great time because obviously they showed us around and stuff. And you know that swimming pool is not as big as it looks.
No,
you have to put a mirror
tiny.
to make it look big. Yeah.
I was really disappointed when I went. I was expecting to have breakfast at that table on the outside, on the patio.
The table. So that's cool. Yeah,
it's no TARDIS, is it, South Fork? I mean, it is iconic, but not as much as the TARDIS. No. Right. Okay, yeah, you may notice that the console room is not complete, and it's never complete until she's here. I'm happy to say. I want everybody to say at once when I bring her in because it's her birthday. So we're going to give her a roaring happy birthday as we bring her in. It's happy birthday to Charlotte Shields.
Hello, everybody.
Yay, happy birthday.
It was just perfect this year because last year we weren't live when it was my birthday, so I'm so happy I got to spend it the night with all my Type 40 family. So that's been lovely.
Oh, bless you.
So how has the day been then?
Oh, it was nice. The kids sang "Happy Birthday" to me at the end of the day, and I got lots of hugs.
That's sweet.
So that was quite nice.
Okay.
Brilliant. We won't ask your age. You're never supposed to ask a lady that, are you? Even a time lady. But happy to spend your birthday evening with you here, Charlotte. It's very good, very good. Okay, so please, if that's not worth a like, I don't know what is. Please like Charlotte's birthday and like the video to subscribe to the channel. Check if you're still subscribed.
Something nice off Starry though, which I want to show off.
Yes, of course. So you've been sent presents?
Yes. I can show you. I got some Doctor Who things from my family, but I got this card of Sarah.
Let's have a look. Yes.
So I've always loved that artwork.
Oh, yeah,
so it's
yes,
a very
lovely.
good pick.
I must have known.
And then my little present, which also is spooky considering what presents I got off my family, was this bookmark. Well, it's not the wrong way around. That'd be good, wouldn't it, Charlotte? Yeah. There we go. So we're all stories in the end. Let's make it a good one. So it's a quote off Matt, which is I was very, very happy with.
And a great message for a birthday as well.
which is a bit spooky because I did get this as a present. I did get a Doctor Who book.
Wow.
Of my family.
Oh, yeah. Very nice. That's the Treasure Island one that was recently.
Yeah, so I had the Camelot one last Christmas and I really enjoyed it. And then I was like, it's Matt and it's Treasure Island.
Perfect.
Any fairer than that.
Yeah.
And to top it all off, she gets to spend the evening with us here as well. Happy
Don't know if that's a good
Charlotte.
thing, really.
The night is young, Ian. The night is young. We've got lots to get into, lots to talk about, to get stuck into. And there's been ever such a lot going on in the Doctor Who universe. We've also got the comments. They're positively loading up there in the comments section on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. So I think it's about time we went to check in with them and see what they've got to say. Everybody that's watching and listening to our ramblings here. Okay, so let's hit engage on one of these.
Yeah.
So yes, here we are. We're back, and we've got a live chat full comments and greetings and birthday wishes too. I'm happy to say, Charlotte. Lots of our friends, fans, and companions here are loading it up. So who have we got first? We've got John Yulden's in with a good evening, everyone.
Hi, John.
Hello.
Right here, and who else? It's also, actually, I was to say it's Lord Thoth's birthday too, because he's away with Lady Thoth. He's another one of our regulars section here. So happy birthday, Lord Thoth.
Oh, happy birthday, Lord Thoth. Lovely.
Hello out there. I'm far too early. Cup of tea time, me think. So Pete keeps having. Yes, it was. I was really early. Blimey, it's half an hour before we started. Who else is here? Mark Milford's here too. Happy birthday, Charlotte, from Mark. We've got a hail and greetings from the Darren Zone as well. Happy Type 40 day, lovelies, and an even happier birthday to the beautiful Charlotte. You get a blue heart, some stars there.
Hi, Charlotte.
What a lovely message there. She's nice.
Where are you?
Hi there, all, says Grand Moff Miranda.
That's a moody avatar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wendology's here too. Happy good evening all, and a very happy birthday to our Queen Charlotte. And you get a cake there and a funny face.
It's already got that. Oh!
Popcorn and kettle.
Wonderful stuff. We've got hello all from that's from you, Simon. Hello all there.
That's me. Hello.
Yeah. Crimpling doubloons in somewhere. I've seen him. He's floating around. Ahoy! Ahoy! We've got his ahoy. Get the ahoy in somewhere. We've got a hi from TARDIS TV. To see you again. TARDIS and TV. So Darren M's in as well with greetings, one and all, in the old Max Headroom there, doing the thing. But he always did the thing. Hi from the Primord infectant. Still infected? Are you Primord? I hope it clears up by Christmas.
You definitely need to get some cream for that.
Yeah. Grumpy old Bob's in. Hello from America, where the Whoniverse doesn't exist. Oh, God, we're writing with a moaning. Hello, everybody, from Woodhouse 122. And we've got It Begins from Grand Moff Miranda. Sam's in as well. Evening, dudes. Well, dudes.
Hi, Sam.
Dudes.
I'm trying on the dude for size. Evening, dudes. Hope everyone's well. Are you well, Adam?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks, Dan. Yeah, sorry.
Sam's asking.
We're all well. I'm well.
We're all well. Yes, we're all very well.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan.
Very good.
Yeah, very well.
Hope you're well.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all from the classic 80s fanboy.
To see you.
Love.
Nice.
Hello to everyone and everyone else from Michael. That doesn't leave anybody out at all, does it?
Hello, Michael.
Hello, Space Bookers from Cybermat Strikes. It's a blast from the past, isn't it?
Yeah.
What else? Evening all from Simon Ashley. Howdy from Texas. That's from Ron, Ron Harris. I had to read that out properly. I had a terrible slip of the tongue. Somebody reboot Dan, asks Wendell. People have been asking
It's been like this all day when it is hyper. He's like a hyperactive child with all this.
He
We're
didn't-
still recovering from that Halloween stream we did.
I think, won't we all are?
Yeah.
The amount of that put the wind up me that live stream did. I don't mind telling you, but that was nothing to do with what we were discussing. It was Stephen Noonan's anecdotes. Hi everyone, says TARDIS TV, and we've got Electric X Bull, hand pink waving holla holla.
Uh-oh.
Hola.
Is that reads like a prompt from some sort of AI thing, doesn't it? Cheers, y'all, from Cliff Maxwell. And lots more. We've got Gary Browsers in too. Tony Farrell with greetings and salutations, one and all. And Lenny the Legend is back. There's lots of love for Lenny in the chat.
Yeah, just be really glad, everybody, that this isn't in Smell-O-Vision, because he's just done the biggest smelly farts that anybody ever had.
Good boy.
Right in my lap.
This is the content you all tune in for.
Oh, Michael's trying to organise a Kickstarter fundraiser for Ian for a new camera there in the live chat from Michael. It just shows that they care, doesn't it, Ian? Shows that they care.
Yeah, well, that's nice. That's very nice.
Matthew Butterfield asks, have you had a trim, Dan? No, but I'm having a particularly good hair day. My hair... days ago, as you've seen, probably the latest video I made was pretty bad. So, yeah, it's back under control today. It's doing as it was told. I've been caught out in the rain since about 7:30 this morning. Why am I never on when Adam is on? Hey, Adam, says Shah.
Oh, I'm starting to take it personally, Shah. I think you've...
We've got one here from Patton Frodo. So a new name, don't recognise this one. Ooh. Hello, Craig from Pennsylvania, USA. We love Doctor Who here and can't wait to see the new shows. Wow. Hello, Craig. Welcome to Type 40. Hope you enjoyed the live stream. There's a lot to talk about. Let us know what you think of all the various stuff that we bring up. Wonderful. Dallas is a pretty spread out city. It's pretty big, advises Ron Harris. Is that right, Adam?
Yeah, you're telling me. Yeah, it takes about an hour just to walk to the nearest shop. Yeah, if you don't drive over here, you're absolutely screwed. And I don't drive.
Happy birthday from Gary Browse. That's to you again, there, Charlotte. Lovely, lovely messages. And what else? Got more comments. Yeah, I'm aware that there are more Doctor Who news stories breaking as we're live, but that's just the nature of the anniversary. We'll get around to talking about it all in time eventually, I'm sure. Did you get the bumps, asks Peter, or is that outlawed in today's health and safety culture?
It is. I used to do it in school, but we don't do it anymore.
I should jolly well think not either. It was very dangerous.
It wasn't. It was fun. It was fun. The bumps.
No, it really wasn't fun. It really wasn't.
Hi all from Fly Highland. Fly Highland? Is that what it is?
Yeah, Fly Highland. I think so.
Fly Highland.
Highland.
Hello, Fly.
Fly Highland has just dropped some amazing news in the chat that I've just read. Well,
we'll have to come to that another time. If we open that, we'll be going down a rabbit hole. What else have we got? Henry's in the live chat. A bit of an Adam fan, I think. I love the Blue Box podcast. It's one of the very few things that got me through the awful Whittaker era.
Well, I'm glad we could assist in that because it was tough times.
hard times indeed.
Tough times. Not anymore, though.
Gallifrey Angel C says, Happy Whofember, everyone. Hello, Cheryl. Good to have you back. Settle in. We've got loads of stuff to talk about from across Doctor Who on this edition of the show. So please, everybody, keep the comments coming. We'll try and keep up with as much as we can. Obviously, as I've said, news stories in Doctor Who are breaking every 2 or 3 hours at the moment, and there's only so much we can cover in each edition of the show. That's why we've been trying to give you more content over the last few weeks. So be patient with us, stick with us, and we've got a lot to unwrap here and now. Okay, where shall we go first? Oh, yeah, we'll have a message from our friend here, I think. Yeah.
Greetings, I am K9. If you have an inquiry and Siri or Alexa cannot help, maybe I can. Have you ever wondered if time travel is possible? Or what can a sonic screwdriver do? I may have the answers. Please leave your questions in the comments below.
R2.
Just sound like
You say that every time. You don't have to anymore, Ian.
It is R2.
We know that. You don't have to say every time.
There's a lot going on in Doctor Who at the moment in the real world and in the fiction. Of course there is. Doctor Who itself is out there filming right now. I think it's going on all week. A brand new shoot with Ncuti Gatwa and more new costumes. We're going to leave that as well for the time being, but it does sort of tie in to the big news of the week. Where we saw this logo originally. This was from the wall inside Bad Wolf Studios several months ago, and Ncuti Gatwa he seems very, very happy that Bad Wolf is the home of the Whoniverse, but that's been left hanging with us for a long, long time. Of course, and now the months have become weeks in this countdown to the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, and the series now has its own domestic streaming hub, and it's soon going to be joined by an international streaming platform home as well for the very first time. And here on Type 40 Live, we're ready to talk about all these huge developments intended to take the whole franchise. I'm always a bit uneasy calling Doctor Who a franchise, Simon. The whole property back to the top and hopefully surpass its former glories. But the word the Whoniverse, that's something I think that us as fans have been using for a little while now. We've said it at the top of each of these live streams for months, if not a couple of years. But finally, it's become official. And Russell T Davies teased this a little while ago on Instagram here. So he said that last from the 1st of November, the massive Doctor Who back catalogue will be available across the iPlayer for free. Well, pay your license fee, a comment like that. But so much work has gone into this by fleets of people, and mentions the subtitles, audio descriptions, and everything else that was there. So we've known about this for a little while, but he teased that they were looking for a name for it, didn't he? The Who World, Doctor House, and he went into some pretty wild theories there. But it turns out, we have got the name, and they've simply gone for the Whoniverse. Some people may think that's a little bit cringy and maybe a little too international and not domestic enough. But I think people will kind of know what it means, or they will come to know what it means, Sarah.
Yeah, I mean, I've used it myself plenty of times because, there are another one is worlds of Doctor Who, because there are, offshoots and all these different things. So to me, it just makes perfect sense. It doesn't bother me at all. I think it encompasses everything that we've come to know, because that can be the other shows and spin-offs. It can be Big Finish. It can be comics. It can be, the novels and things. So, I think it's brilliant.
So it's officially started. In fact, the entire anniversary has sort of started with the iPlayer. The 1st of November 2023 saw the unveiling of Whoniverse on the iPlayer, and the idea is that fans or just anybody who's got a TV license can stream and shuffle through the next to the entire history of the show. So almost every episode that still exists, that's still in the archives, is up there now, along with spin-offs and promotional productions. And there's lots more that's planned, that's promised as coming too, as the thing expands. So it seems quite ambitious, Simon, as an evolution. You're somebody who's obviously worked in television. You're very well aware of what's at the cutting edge. But a few years ago, in fact, was it over 10, 15 years ago, the iPlayer was quite groundbreaking, wasn't it? Do you feel like they've been trailing behind lately in the last 5 to 8 years?
Well, we talked about this before, where it just all got a bit confusing with Doctor Who appearing on BritBox, but then people had to pay for those sort of subscriptions. And that always felt to me really, really awkward that people were being made to pay for Doctor Who. I think BritBox really was a mistake on the BBC's part, because it just fudged it. It just made it confusing. And so that's why, if anything, iPlayer's kind of dropped behind. But I don't know. I still think the BBC has something of an identity crisis with this whole iPlayer business, because these days, every single trailer, all you hear is all episodes to stream now on iPlayer. So they're constantly trying to badger us to just watch iPlayer and not watch broadcast television. And yet, on the one hand, they're trying to do that. On the other hand, they're trying to not go down this whole subscription route. So the whole thing just seems a little bit odd to me. Anyway, doesn't matter. The good news is that Doctor Who is on there as it should have been. It shouldn't have been put on BritBox in the first place. It should have been on iPlayer for free. And so, thank goodness, it's finally there in its rightful home, I would say.
The more I think about it, the more you're right, Simon. Should this have happened years ago, Adam?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with what Simon's just said, actually, because it does make, in one sense, they're pushing everybody to watch everything on the iPlayer now. They upload episodes before they've even been shown on the screen, which I don't like. I mean, that I am a binger. I do like to, like last night, I binged all the Tales from the TARDIS and stuff. If they're there, I will watch them, but it does take away that thing of people sitting down and watching together and then talking about it the next day. If the whole series is there for people to watch, when they want. I mean, I'm all for it once it's all been shown, because then you can catch up. But it is quite a messy thing, the iPlayer. Like Simon just said, it's as if the BBC don't know what they have. I mean, there's a surprise, isn't it? Like the BBC don't know what to do with this great thing that they have.
Do you think some of it's marketability as well? Because some of the dramas, they've got a lot of archive dramas on there already, Charlotte. So, for example, you can watch every episode of a show like Bergerac on the iPlayer. It's been there for years. But obviously they sell far fewer DVDs of Bergerac than they do of Doctor Who. So maybe that's part of the reluctance to put the content on the iPlayer, because obviously if it is there technically for free, because most people who in Britain still do have a TV license, then I suppose they're cutting off revenue stream, aren't they?
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if some people just up high didn't think there was the interest to have Classic Who on there, because they've only recently, in the last couple of years, started to do the back catalogue thing. Like my sister's literally watching All Silent Witness from the beginning on the iPlayer, and that's quite a storied show they've got on the BBC. So it probably was just a bit of not knowing, maybe a bit of ignorance, thinking, oh, will it get actually any interest if we put Classic Who on there? And I just think I had a look at it because I wanted to see how easy it was to look at, how much was going to go on there. And I was actually really impressed with just how simple it is just to get what you want and how easy it's to navigate at the moment. We'll have to see if that changes, obviously, with the more newer stuff, whether that's the spin-offs when they eventually arrive, or the shooty stuff, how that eventually looks on it. But at the moment, I think it's brilliant. And I love the fact that they've done it in one go. They've not done it like, for the first couple of weeks, there's these stories. And then in the next couple of weeks, there's some more stories. It's just
because that is sometimes the case, isn't it? With archive content, they sort of drizzle it out. This was worth doing with a great deal of impact and a great deal of fanfare.
And I think they did do
fanfare. Quite literally in this case, we have an actual fanfare because the whole thing has been reframed as Whoniverse, BBC Whoniverse, and with this actual literal fanfare, this piece of film. So I think most people have probably seen this by now, but let's take a look now here on the show.
My boys absolutely love this. I've never seen them so excited because obviously it's picking up on the Marvel and the DC.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, their faces lit up, and it just looks cool. For the first time in a long time, Doctor Who feels cool again, at least as far as my two kids were concerned.
So they would feel that they're not exactly the target audience, because everybody's the target audience for Doctor Who, aren't they? All of us. But they feel that the brand has just leveled up with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
In big gold letters, the TARDIS flying through the middle. So that's quite quirky, quite idiosyncratic. There's no mistaking that box. But as you say, it is very much tied to where most brands, most intellectual properties are now. So have you seen this before, Ian? What do you make of this?
Yeah, I've seen it before. I personally think it's I hate to be the voice of doom, but I personally think I don't like this idea that they're copying Marvel. Even the logo is like Marvel with all the characters that are in the writing and stuff like that. I think it's very unoriginal. I just think they should just concentrate on Doctor Who and just forget about the spin-offs and all that kind of nonsense and celebrate the 60th. I think they're basically trying to fly before they can walk, because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. But I just think it's really unoriginal.
And when you say fly before they can, but when you say fly before they can walk, I mean, as we've just said, that it actually a lot of this content appearing on streaming, it's, if anything, it seems a little bit like something that should have been done years ago. So, well, but you think that they're trying to do too much?
No, I just think that it's really unoriginal. They're just copying what Marvel and DC did. DC,
just specifically this.
This
marketing it.
This logo and creating the Whoniverse, whatever it's called, and it's just so unoriginal. They're just like they're falling in line with what's happening with other franchises as well. And then again, who can blame them? If they can, muster up more interest in Doctor Who by doing this. But if I was in charge, I would just concentrate on Doctor Who.
I think it's interesting, Ian, because I kind of don't entirely disagree on this one. My feeling was that as nice as it was, and it's a lovely piece of artwork, it's a nice piece of graphic, all the rest of it, but it's not Doctor Who. That's what strikes me with it. This is what worries me. Doctor Who is moving further away from being Doctor Who and what made Doctor Who unique, and it really worries me. I'm genuinely honest about this. It worries me.
I agree.
This is not Doctor Who. This is not what I signed up for when I started watching Doctor Who.
I understand that they have to move with the times and stuff like that, but even when they did move with the times, when they went from Doctor to Doctor and era to era, it still had that same sense of it being Doctor Who. And I kind of agree with Simon, what Simon just said just now. It just seems like they're going in another direction with it. Yeah. But then again, who am I? I'm old school. Do you know what I mean? So, it might work with the new. I mean, look what Sarah said. Her kids were excited. Yeah. So who am I to say that?
Likewise. Exactly. But then having said that, Ian, you're right. Who are we? But come on. The whole point of Doctor Who was it was unique. Do we want to lose that uniqueness and just turn it into whatever else is on television at the moment?
We've lost it.
That's exactly how I feel about it. I think it's a nice piece of animation too, and I think it is quite flavoursome. And I'm actually really glad that your kids their attention was grabbed by it, Sarah, because I think that is important. But what I look to when I think of Doctor Who and the series I've been watching all my life, Charlotte, the franchise, if you like, the brand and the modern day mythology that's spoken to me, not only did it appeal generally speaking to outsiders, but it's something that has always done its own thing. It's never followed the herd. I say the word herd. I look at Adam.
But
it's never followed the herd creatively, and yet here it is, just as Ian says, following right behind Marvel, DC, Star Wars. Even Star Trek has a graphic like this now with the insignia and the Enterprise. So it does seem to be just following the herd. And whilst you could say that that a piece of animation like that is a necessary. I won't say evil. It's necessary in this day and age.
That's the problem with it.
It's not Doctor Who enough.
It's not original. It's just copied the same tone and the same movement as the logo for Marvel. If you watch the Marvel logo, in the writing they have Iron Man, they have all the characters that are Marvel. And it's the same thing with this. I mean, so unoriginal. When they were celebrating the 50th and they had that really great scene where they went through the rocks and all the doctors were standing there, that was original. This, I don't know. I just look. Every time you ask me a question, I always come out with negative.
No, I think it's a
valid opinion, Ian. Yeah,
I know, but I must say, I still got my fingers crossed for the shooty Doctor Who. I mean,
that's another question, because this is something that's framing everything from 63 to present day. It's all being reframed as Whoniverse. So I think something like that You could say, yeah, well, you can take it at face value, Simon. It's a 13-second piece of animation to grab your attention and to encapsulate something. But I believe that things like this actually, you know, as a graphic designer as well as a punter, I believe things like this are really, really important, and they should stand the test of time. I don't want to look at something that may have to be revamped in 2 years' time. This should outlive the current branding. You know, when they get tired of the diamond logo and want to move on to something, this should remain the same. This should be a standard and remain in place. And I can't see it doing that. Like Marvel have changed theirs quite a lot as well. I don't want Doctor Who to keep changing. We've got a couple of people in the comment section who are saying, you know, they're very divided on it. You know, we need the tunnel back, says Peter Harrington. And I think Peter Harrington, you won't mind me saying, you know, Peter's been a fan for decades longer than I have. And you could say, oh, well, you know, people, we're going to like what we liked from when we were younger. But I think there is something to be said for it in this case, that something like this, it's going to encapsulate Doctor Who, Simon. It's got to be idiosyncratic. And whilst the TARDIS is in there, the rest of it, the fly past of the big letters, I don't know. It doesn't make me cringe, but I do see what people are getting at. I have had an idea. I think there is a middle ground that would make it a lot more Doctor Who-y. So what you think of? So I've been tinkering. See what you think of this. See if you think this is.
Yay! Way
yeah,
better.
that's much better because it doesn't sound like Marvel.
Way better.
I think the answer was staring them right in the face the entire time. They've got the best signature tune in the history of British, if not world television. The work of Delia Derbyshire, which they never stopped telling us about being so important, so iconic, and this legendary female figure, this pioneer woman. And yet they've completely overlooked her at a chance that they had to celebrate her with just these 13 seconds there. I think that is far better.
And really, shouldn't they have done? Shouldn't they have celebrated? And not least because it's the 60th anniversary. But you're right, Dan. Spot on. Yeah,
I think they're obviously aiming at an audience, a new audience, and I don't know whether that new audience exists anymore because things have changed so much with TV and everything. So I don't know. I would say, wish they'd just concentrate on Doctor Who and forget about this Whoniverse nonsense and just concentrate on make Doctor Who great again.
Marketing is
important.
I suppose, Ian, they've spent a year and a half, Bad Wolf, making Doctor Who. And we're finally going to get to see it now. It's just 3 weeks away. Marketing is important in this day and age, isn't it? I'm going to give that another blast. I think people.
Can you play it one more time? Can you play it one more time, please? Can you play it one more time? Seriously.
What?
Get what you mean. I think the problem is
the one thing I've realised about that is there's a crap load of women in that trailer.
Oh, Ian, come on.
No, I'm just saying. You know, if I notice these things, I've got to pull them up. You know, there's a crap load of people.
Well, it seemed odd to me to Ian that they didn't include more of the doctors in there. I couldn't understand that. I have to be honest. I didn't know why they were.
Exactly. Well, it's BBC, isn't it? So you know.
I don't know. I'm not saying that's a theory or them banging an agenda at all. It just seemed odd not to just kind of put all the doctors in there. That's what I would have done as a designer. But
I think the problem is for me. It's too clean. It's too sort of clean and sleek. I think it would have been funner to have something a bit more, like you're saying, something a bit more odd, a bit more out there. Because to me, that's what Doctor Who at its best is.
Well, you could have had. They would have doctors in that logo.
I don't know. I think that. Yeah, but you think about it logically, though. Whoniverse is there to frame the entire thing. So the spin-offs, all the productions that revolve around it, and everything that's going to come in the future, they've got ambitions for this entire property that extend beyond the parent show. And also, if we look back to 63, there was a cast of 4 people launched that show, 2 of which were women. The co-stars throughout the entire history of the show, with about 4 or 5 exceptions, have been a man and a woman. There's been just as many women that have led this show. I don't think this is a problem. I think we're looking for problems there that just don't exist.
No. I totally disagree with you, Dan. You always
the Whoniverse. No, but the Whoniverse.
We're talking about Doctor Who. Why isn't there more doctors in that logo?
Ian, we're talking. we're talking about the Whoniverse. The Whoniverse is something they're using to frame the entire. No. We're talking about the Whoniverse. That graphic says Whoniverse. It's meant to frame the entire brand, not from the past and going forward. They intend on launching multiple spin-off shows. So I don't mind them. I don't understand actually why there's not a few bits from the animation. I don't know why there isn't.
Right?
And why there isn't
from the past.
I don't know why there isn't a couple of examples, screenshots maybe, and characters from the animated versions in there too. I don't want to show the length and breadth of it all. I don't think it should be just the incarnations of the Doctor, because that's Doctor Who. This is the Whoniverse. This could be
So are they going
something.
to make a show with Rose then?
Well, perhaps they've got spin-offs in mind. Simon, do you see what I'm getting at?
I have to be honest. I totally see what you're getting at. I think.
Not trying to be argumentative for the
looking
sake.
at it again, and I've just watched it again. I've just watched it again on playback while you were just talking, Dan, and I am watching. And it does seem odd that there aren't actually more characters in there. Full stop. So actually, you're right, Dan.
13 seconds.
And if anything, there should be more in there. There actually should be. There should be more Doctors, but if anything, then there should be more companions, more monsters, more. I don't know.
It shouldn't. In my view, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be just about the Doctors. It should be about those things that we've spoken about. We've done entire streams on it on this show about the moments of Doctor Who. Those moments that make your hair stand up. Those moments that make you punch the air because Rose. That figure has just turned round and it's Rose. Who knew? It's moments like that. I don't think it should just be all the leading men. See how this is going down in the live chat, because I can see we're divided on this. I wonder what they're all saying as well. We've got good evening, everyone, from T Dwarf Productions. Good evening, T Dwarf. How are you?
Hello,
We've got a message here from Grumpy Old Bob, who says, "So, are you okay with people outside the UK not getting all of the content that the UK get?" Yes. Well, if it's paid for by the license fee, then if you don't pay the license fee, and the license fee is going to make some programming, I'm afraid it's a fact of reality. That money is obviously raised, it's funded domestically, therefore I think it's perfectly reasonable that stuff is for a UK audience, Simon.
I would agree with you totally, Dan, but then on the other hand,
I take no relish in saying that, but for example, Netflix subscribers pay for the content that Netflix make and broadcast. So BBC license fee payers, it's exactly the same as a subscriber to any streaming service. License fee payers pay for the stuff to be made. Therefore, sorry, Simon.
No, all I was going to say was I agree with you totally, and that is correct. But on the other hand, I can't help think why are they not making it available for people overseas to purchase, to take out a subscription or something?
I agree.
Isn't this going to be on Disney Plus?
Absolutely.
No. So it will be. So it will be available.
Maybe. Because I can see for people outside the UK, it would be galling. Sorry, Charlotte.
Let's go on. Carry on, Charlotte. I have got some graphic about that as well.
I was going to say, we don't technically know what Disney Plus is going to launch with yet. This is the BBC's launch, in a way. We don't know what Disney are going to do. So they might have some stuff for them that we don't get here. It could go the other way. So we don't know, is what I'm going to say at the moment.
I don't see why Disney would have something separate to the BBC. They're both working together. So they wouldn't. They'd be working. They'd be working in tandem. They wouldn't. Walt Disney won't have something separate to what the BBC doesn't have. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think that's going to happen. Personally.
No, but I would have thought that maybe Disney will release basically exactly what's on iPlayer, but behind its paywall. Maybe they will do that for the rest of the world, and I think that probably will be the right thing to do. To be honest, as long as you're paying for it, I agree, Dan.
Yeah, I think that the BBC... This is why when the BBC... Because I don't agree with the licence fee on principle. I don't pay the licence fee. I haven't got a TV licence at present. In my view, if the BBC were being truly visionary, they would think internationally and they would expand their potential reach so that people overseas could pay the licence fee, become BBC subscribers. But why are they not willing to do that? I don't know, and I think that they are not as confident in the quality of their output as they make out that it can hold its own on the international stage. They're making all these noises about being an international broadcaster. Put your money where your mouth is, BBC. That's what I've got to say. Disney has its own situation and its own problem because obviously some of the rights are still held up with HBO, aren't they? I feel like Doctor Who has always had a Whoniverse to it. The idea sounds similar to what Big Finish spin-offs like Dalek Empire and Cybermen did, Adam. They have those little brands within the brand on Big Finish, don't they?
They do, mate. And I just want to quickly come back to what Simon and Ian were saying, because I do agree with some of their points. But the thing is, Doctor Who, since it came back in 2005, to me, although I very much like the show and I've enjoyed a lot of the stuff we've had since 2005, it does feel like a different show to the classic era. It's kind of evolved, if you want to use that word. Now, I just think what Russell's trying to do with the Whoniverse, because I really think he's just trying, it's like a reset. It is a reboot. He is trying to get back the millions of people that have stopped watching the show. So although it might not be quite what I want, because I agree with you both that I would want them to concentrate on Doctor Who, if this Whoniverse can get people interested in the show again and bring them back, then I'm all for it. And the reason I'm sort of wanted to make that point was, because we were saying earlier that, not Charlotte, sorry, Sarah's kids were interested in it, which is a great sign. I got a text about an hour before we started recording from my friend Jo. She's one of my oldest friends. She used to rip it out of me at school for watching Doctor Who and being a geek. She texted me this morning with a screenshot of them watching the Daleks, the first partner story. And I was like, Jo, you're watching Doctor Who. And that to me says that it's reaching people that it would not normally reach, those people that have walked away, those people that have never watched it. So if Doctor Who has to do this to get back to where it was, then I'm all for it. But
somebody's microwave keeps pinging. What's going on?
Yeah, it's not me. It's not my phone.
It's not me.
So yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, I think this is what it needs to be. Russell is drawing a line in the sand. He's saying, right, Series 15 is now going to be Series 1 or whatever. We've got the Whoniverse. He's trying to reboot this show and get it back on the map. And I think this is kind of...
No, I agree. And I don't know why people are so surprised about this, because if you read between the lines, they've been saying they're going to do this for 18 months. They've always said all new Doctor Who. Danny Hargreaves has said publicly that this was the second relaunch of Doctor Who. We've been saying on this show for the best part of 2 years. Obviously, there are bigger channels on YouTube. I'm well aware of that, but we have been saying this the entire time. So Adam there spoke about the reach of these episodes, Simon. And it's fabulous to hear stories like that, isn't it, of people who are either too young to have been interested before, or not, or older people who'd brushed it off before, now finding these stories. And funnily enough, I mean, just when we've been on air now, some news has broken about the Dalek story as well. That's bound to get it to reach even more people, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what's the news briefly, Simon, in a nutshell? We haven't got any details, but just for people who don't know out there.
We've got some details. I have been looking into this because literally at 8 o'clock this evening, literally just as we went on air, the news broke that yes, the Daleks, the original William Hartnell story, the first
that 7-part story from season 1.
It's going to be screened on the 23rd of November. Yay! On BBC 4 in colorized form. Believe it or not, they have colorized it.
Wow.
It's been re-edited into a 75-minute feature with new music by Mark Ayres. So this is massive news, because this is something I've been pushing for so long, to colorize some stuff. You know, forgive me, I'm literally just reading this as we go. But yeah, the 725-minute episodes recut into a 75-minute feature-length special to be shown on the 23rd of November on BBC 4. New score by Mark Ayres with new sound design, and yet, to be clear, it has been colorized. This is huge news. This is just brilliant.
So, speaking in line with what we're talking about as well, it is another way of reaching people who, for whatever reason, for whatever reason, whether they don't like black and white content, they don't like old stuff, they don't like stuff that lasts over 2 hours, a way of getting them more likely to sample Doctor Who and to get on board for the magic of Doctor Who to work its spell on them, I suppose, Charlotte. That's what we want. And so the streaming platform, I feel that it's, generally speaking, a really good thing, and having it all focused is too. Bradley Miller says, I feel like the Whoniverse is great so long as the show Doctor Who is of good quality and the storylines are compelling. I mean, that is the truth of the matter, isn't it, Charlotte? Yeah. That's still at the dead centre of this. If the show itself isn't pulling its weight and then some, we've just got to keep our faith, haven't we, Charlotte?
Yeah, I think at the core of it, it's always going to be the main show. We've always said this, that central doctor in the main show with their companion, with those stories, because that's what's got us interested. You just need to watch one story. We've also said this. You just need that one story and you're hooked. So that's why also I think it's so brilliant that we're getting colour now for some of these classic stories. We're getting all this back catalogue. And I get why some people don't think it is a bit Americanized and it is a bit copying. But I actually think this feels to me more of a push from Russell and Bad Wolf to go to basically say, Doctor Who is so big, we want you to fall in love with all of it. And that's almost like a mission statement. I feel like this is all trying to do, all this moves that we're getting, is to try and get the whole of it appreciated as much as we can, get all those doctors having their moment in the sunlight and to really push them out to as many people as possible. And I think that can only help the show.
Russell T Davies has said the word Whoniverse was invented by the fans. He's acknowledged that. And so it's time to give it official status. So I suppose if you wanted to be cynical, you could say, well, here he's taken something that we've invented and trademarked it, copyrighted it and registered it as a limited company, Simon. But in another, you could look at it the way that, well, this is the Doctor Who family. I've been saying for a long time, Ian, that we as Doctor Who fans, we own the show as much as the BBC do. If they don't have our support, if they lose us, they lose a lot. And I do feel that this, in part, is Russell kind of acknowledging the fact that the fan base come up with something that does kind of work.
Maybe, but maybe you're reading too much into it. I don't know. I think it's nice.
He said it there. He said the word Whoniverse was invented by the fans. It's pretty plain English.
Yeah, I think you're reading too much into it. But I think it's really nice of him to acknowledge that as well, because you never get these days. You never get creators that actually acknowledge fans these days, do you? And that's really nice. Yeah, really nice.
I think the music and graphics need to excite, bewilder, and amaze. Simon, Sarah, I've been bewildered for years. I'm even bewildered about who I'm talking to.
Just ignore fans and take them for granted at your peril, and this is what the BBC has found out over the past few years. True. So anything where any kind of acknowledgement it's nice. It's not the be all and end all, but it's a start, Russell. It's a start. I think he's very, very conscious of that.
Sorry, Sarah. The other thing I was going to say, which I am pleased about as well, is that it's a good way of bringing classic and new Who together. And there have been times in the past where I felt very much that new Who really doesn't want to acknowledge classic Who. It's almost an embarrassment to it. There was very much a start, for very good reason, back in 2005 that they hit the reset button, and they didn't turn their back on classic Who, but it was very, very much sidelined.
It was at arm's distance, wasn't it?
Yeah, and so what I really do like about this whole Whoniverse thing on iPlayer is it is encompassing everything. It's including everything, all as Charlotte said earlier, in very easy to access form on the one screen. It's not like you've got to go and hunt down the classic stuff on a kind of a subsidiary little menu button somewhere else. No, it's there, front and center with new Who, and that's what I'm pleased about. By doing this, they are quite rightly bringing the two together, even though you are right, Adam, they're two clearly different programs before and after. But they are still Doctor Who, and so I think it's right that they are brought together. And
K9 and Company's there, Simon. I thought of you when I saw that news, and so's the Sarah Jane Adventures. That's there. Torchwood is in place too. I know you love a bit of Torchwood, don't you, Sarah? And Class as well. That 8-part off show, the one that didn't quite stick. Even that is there, along with more new content to come. We're promised. So that covers so many bases, as well as full-length editions of Doctor Who Confidential. So this much missed a behind-the-scenes show, which is about to get reincarnated, isn't it, as Doctor Who Unleashed. That's coming with the new episodes too in a couple of weeks' time. And we're promised there's more to come. An Adventure in Space and Time isn't up there for the time being, but Russell T Davies has guaranteed that will be there soon enough too, Charlotte. So all the pieces are dropping into place. I mean, there's only so much that anybody can watch, isn't there? But knowing that 800-odd episodes and all these spin-offs are there from day one, as you said, it's a statement of intent.
Yeah, I really think they are trying to. It's almost, we've also said before, it's like the BBC isn't proud. And this is me being daft, but it felt like Doctor Who had a moment of the BBC actually saying, look, this is ours. We've actually contributed to this and just had it all there.
I think that that animation with the original Delia Derbyshire theme seems to have gone down particularly well in the live chat. I'm feeling quite smug about that, Adam. But
well,
quite right too.
Yeah.
That sounds much better, says Ezra Goldstein. Deja Who. There's people asking me to play it again.
Again.
We'll play it. We'll play it at the end. We'll play it at the end. But you've got to like and comment.
Yeah, we have a lot of people watching tonight. Thanks for being here, everybody. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, check you're still subscribed, and hit the cloister bell to get the notifications about what we're doing next. But yes, please like. We need to get that the engagement up to at least 50%. So some more likes, please. What else have we got? Shah's here too. Clever marketing for new audiences is not the end of the world, says Kevin Gibbons. Hi, Kevin. Thanks for that contribution. Then again, I always agree with Simon. Says,
no, you don't. It's not true.
Char, you creeper! Oh my god!
The stream love.
Electric Bull says each letter in that Whoniverse animation has doctors, companions, and monsters. Oh, yeah. Every time I watch it, I notice something different, Sarah. I notice a little wrinkle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If anything, if anything, it goes through too fast. But I guess the whole point of that is, as you say, Dan, the more times you watch it, the more. Because I've only spotted the Sea Devil in there for the first time this evening. So yeah, you keep noticing new things in there.
They could have had the different opening titles in the letters. Well, they could do, but I don't think that would have spoken to people quite so much. I don't think that would have made people remember, as I said, the moments. Yeah. I think they want to remind people of that time when Doctor Who made them feel that way, whether it was punch in the air, wiping a tear away, scaring the S out of them. I think that's what you need to encapture with something like that.
And Crumpling the Bloom, obviously, when we get to it, the different opening titles do appear in some other things. So that base is covered as well.
Yeah, they have. This isn't just a singular thing, isn't it? It's fantastic, says Michael. Hi, Michael. It's fantastic. Is this Michael who likes his Jaffa cakes? I think it is. At last, the BBC has brought coherence. I like that word, to the entire franchise for a new generation of children and young adults.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to say, but he used coherence, which is a brilliantly eloquent way of saying what I was trying to say.
And again, there is nothing really groundbreaking. This should have been done years ago. It's ridiculous that it's taking this long.
It should have been done in the 50s, Sarah, that's for sure.
It's definitely, I agree. It's 10 years too late, but, better late than never.
Yeah, it's a wide open ad to bring in a new audience, says Kevin Gibbons. Well, yeah, new, and I think you're right, Simon. It's simply that they're trying to bring people back to this stuff. It's a hard reality, but it's absolutely true that so many people were driven away, by one thing, two things in particular, weren't they? And there's no way of getting around that. I don't want the new era claiming the classic era as their own. How soon will the edited versions be available? Says Richard Brooks. I don't really know what that's in reference to, Richard. Just don't call it the Whoniverse because it isn't, says Grumpy Old Bob 56. I don't really know what you're getting at either, Old Bob. I think that it's not. I think it's their ambitions for the brand. I think that's That's what I think that's what marketing largely
I
is.
think Grumpy Old Bob might be responding to the fact that it's not available universally. I think that's what that might be in relation to, that it's only UK based.
Well, I recognise people's disappointment with that. Of course I do. Like I say, I think the BBC should ditch the licence fee, go international subscription, be supported by anybody who wants to see it. But whilst the current model is in place, I think, quite rightly, the licence fee payers in Britain, who, let's be honest, there's still the majority of people who have televisions in Britain have a license fee because it's against the law not to have one if you watch television. But only a fraction of them actually watch Doctor Who. But if you ask them about what they feel BBC license fee money should be going towards, if you told them, this is regardless of Doctor Who, any programming, if you said we're going to make this stuff with your license fee money, but people overseas are going to get it for free, there would be all hell to pay. And the BBC's charter would be completely torn up, which that's what I want. But this is why they're doing it legally. Hi, Simon. It's good to see Lenny from T-Dwarf Productions. Cliff Maxwell says the Whoniverse encompasses Who as the biggest chunk, but Torchwood and other spin-offs, etc. Ian, you need to relax, says Cliff. But here we are, Meta's abroad. Meta lives abroad, is Ian, in Belgium, and they would pay a license fee. They would subscribe to the BBC if they could, which I think sort of proves our point there, Charlotte.
This is a really good launch.
What else have we got? Lots of comments. Yeah, loads of comments. It's a real lively chat. Thank you, everybody. For Will Hadcroft's in the chat, the writer Will Hadcroft, a friend of the show, says, for years, American fans have had those retrospectives that we in the UK didn't do. Yeah, brilliant programming created by BBC America that was, I think that was funded by advertising overseas that we didn't get here on the BBC. It turned up on Blu-rays later, so maybe it could go the other way. Yeah, in time, perhaps it could. You're absolutely right. Who else is Philip of Rose, says the Unknown 289. She's not a good character. She's a memorable character, though, Unknown. That's the truth of the matter. That's unavoidable.
I like Rose.
I like Rose.
Yeah, she's all right. What's wrong with her?
Totally agree, Adam, says Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
And I'm trying to catch up with some of these messages. Wow, keep them coming, everybody. We'll get round to them in. We've got a big boo from Ezra. And we have a fantastic from Michael.
What's the boo for, Ezra?
It can't be doubted that this news may be dividing people, and I do.
Okay. It's what happens.
I do understand why.
Yeah, exactly. It's what happens with every genre, every movie, every TV film. Do you know what I mean? Or movies. Everyone's always divided about something. You can't please everyone. Do you know what I mean? So
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. What have we got? What else is here? So Charlotte, what you were saying, I'm not one to praise the BBC, I think you know that, but what you were saying about the iPlayer, it is really easy to use, isn't it? It's really intuitive, and you can see exactly where everything is when you go straight there to the homepage.
Yeah, and it was how quick, because I knew November 1st was today, and I got up quite early for work, so I had a quick look literally the morning just to see, and I was like, all right, it's already on there. All this extra stuff we got told about this week. And I just had a look, and I was just like, for somebody, and this is what I was thinking as well, I was trying to think, for somebody who doesn't know Who that well, just to look at that, would that phase? And I actually thought, no, this is actually really good. And I was trying to think of it as not a fan, just as like a normal, everyday person looking at that. You could just look at a picture and go, that's interesting, I'll press that, and then it's all there, the seasons or the episodes.
And the animations are there, along with documentaries and some of those live concerts. The Proms is there too, Sarah. You love a bit of that, don't you?
Oh, I do indeed, yeah. I mean, this is what I was saying about, to me, the Whoniverse. It's this, it's the music, it's the documentaries, it's the spin-offs, it's the animations, it's not necessarily, what's coming up in the future. I mean, obviously that will be a part of that, but there's already so much that is the Whoniverse right here, right now, that people can enjoy. And different mediums, kids might not sit and watch the classic series, but they might watch the animations because, the more geeky, it looks more attractive. And that might be a way for them to access it. You just don't know, but at least the options are there.
And it looks just as easy to get to on smartphones as well. But yeah, I think this is all looking really good. This is within 48 hours of launch. So I dare say there'll be niggles. Not everything will be up there right away. And I recognise again, I mean, there's a lot of messages from people in the chat, people overseas who are frustrated at this and a little bit angry and feel that they're being missold something. Carol Jude, hi Carol. She says they tout this as universal and deny everyone outside the UK access. That's what people outside your country are annoyed at. I think you're taking the universal statement a little too literally. Again, I hope you listened to my explanation earlier on. I say I understand that it's going to be they seem like harsh words, and it doesn't help when there's something that you want to see that you can't. But these are the actual practical reasons why they can't just give this stuff away. They can't put it everywhere simply because of the charter and the license fee. Yeah, as soon as we mention Rose, there's a lot of people, a lot of fans just really don't like Rose, do they?
Wow.
And Grumpy Old Fan says the same thing. The point is that the Whoniverse is being touted as international, like it's being claimed. It is domestic. It's not being touted as international. Grumpy Old Bob, the series is going international. The Whoniverse is a domestic streaming hub. That's all it's being marketed as. As I say, you may not like it, but I'm afraid that's how it is.
And also,
we'll continue to follow the story. We hope it changes too, but that's the reality. Sorry.
All I was going to say, Dan, is we've got to bear in mind as well that there could be certain rights issues here with regards to clearances for screening this stuff outside the UK. We don't know. That in itself is going to be a hornet's nest to unpick.
Disney's not doing the same thing.
Well, we don't know.
Nobody knows. But
it could well be that they're sort of working behind the scenes as we speak to try and sort it. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they are.
They've got a big problem because they haven't got all the rights. We do have this. From Disney. And this was reported by Inverse magazine online. While the new specials will premiere on Disney Plus, the new home of the franchise, it will only feature the new episodes. Inverse confirmed with Disney that Disney Plus will be the home of Doctor Who starting from the specials and beyond. So you won't see seasons 1 to 13 there either. If you want to watch new Doctor Who, the series starting from 2005 right the way up, that will still be available on Max, that used to be called HBO Max. However, even this isn't the complete run of the show. Classic Who, that's still on BritBox in the States. So this is out of Disney's hands as well. I dare say that the time will come where they will get the rights to everything on Disney. I'm not sure how long the arrangement is with them. I believe it's around 5 years. So who knows?
I did not know that. I did not know that. I thought Disney had access to. What's the point of making the deal with Disney, making the deal with BBC if they can't get access to all of Doctor Who? It's crazy.
I would disagree there. I would have thought it's perfectly reasonable for Disney just purely to be screening new Who. There's no reason why they should be interested in old Who particularly.
Well, you're probably right there, but they're pretty. When it comes to contracts, the Americans really do know what they're talking about. I'm really surprised that they haven't made a contract where they can actually,
I'm surprised they haven't just bought out HBO Max, Ian.
Yeah, it's true. Or
the most obvious thing.
I would be really surprised if there aren't discussions going on in the background to sort all this out, and it will ultimately get streamlined.
I can understand why the Americans are pissed then. I can understand it. I mean,
but if they can get it on BritBox, I can understand it. But if they can get it on BritBox, and I didn't know you could get it on BritBox outside the UK,
you have to pay for BritBox.
And if it's an American, for example, you can take a subscription out to BritBox. I
think that's what they're arguing about, aren't they? They're annoyed that they have to pay for BritBox to see.
But like Dan says, they haven't paid. No, this sounds awful, but I'm sorry. Anybody outside the UK hasn't paid for those episodes to be made in the first place in the way that British people have.
Gotcha.
What can you do? Not everything's perfect.
Yeah, John Yulden. John Yulden says the same in the chat. I believe HBO still have the Doctor Who episodes at the moment, and it's on their service, so it's complicated internationally. Of course, it will. But the fact of reality is that, just as Bob says here, grumpy old Bob, I'm going to laugh every time I read that, is that for Doctor Who fans overseas, some of them will be paying for 3 things, Charlotte, and that's going to sting, isn't it?
Yeah,
you pay
I get
Disney,
that.
you pay Max, you pay BritBox. I wouldn't like that either, would you?
I get that.
No, and this is the problem of streaming rights. You can only have so much for so long, or somebody has the rights and then you gain another bit of the right. It's just so a bit everywhere.
Physical media. You can always buy them, buy one DVD and watch them.
This is the answer, Ian. We just need to go back to the good old days, buddy, when everything was so much simpler. Do you remember this?
I love that. Yes, I do. I love it. I love those old VHS covers. I probably had all. I had
all of them. Got chucked them away though. Yeah.
Yeah, they're in my sister's garage gathering mold, unfortunately. But yeah.
Well, at least if you buy physical media, it's yours and it's not going to disappear, off the streaming or be edited or whatever. It's yours forever.
That's what I tell my partner all the time when he's moaning about, I'm like, well, I can watch this whenever I want.
Will Hadcroft reminds us, yes, I mean, this is something that British people have had for decades now. There are plenty of US shows that I've missed because I don't subscribe to the channels that they're on. It's something that we in Britain have had this for decades. We have a question here from Black Glove Studio who asks the time-honoured question, Simon, what happens if the TV licence fee just disappears?
Nothing. The world would not end because there isn't a TV license.
BBC will have to put ads on their channel, wouldn't they? That's probably what will happen,
And that's just the tip of the iceberg, mate. It terrifies them because they are a bunch of mid-witted cowards. With Doctor Who launching with its own streaming hub domestically with Whoniverse, it does mean that more people are going to be able to sit down with relatives and friends and enjoy just simply skipping through childhood memories, Adam, or finding their next favourite show. I don't know. You could end up seducing people who didn't particularly like it before. As long as it gets more people on the sofa, in front of the TV, watching Doctor Who, even if they think they hate it, there's always that chance they could be charmed by it. And if they're license fee payers, then they're paying for it already. Have your mates round, have your mates round. I think the Doctor could have his mates round. Russell T. Davies will almost certainly have his mates round as well. And therefore, I'm sure everybody could find something to watch there of the Whoniverse. Let us know which story you're going for first. Are you going for classic Doctor Who? Are you going for new Doctor Who? Or are you going for some of the spin-offs there? Have you always wondered what class? Was it really that bad? If you want to sample some class, or go back to old episodes of Sarah Jane that you sort of remember from when you were a kid out there. Yeah, a lot of people grew up with that show, and they may want to go back to it. I think that's some of the beauty of it as well. Of course, there is completely original content. We'll be talking about that next to a whole spin-off sort of show. The TARDIS is spinning. A spin-off show that's been launched this very week. We'll be talking about that in a few moments. The specials themselves are on the way. Of course, we've got 3 weeks to wait, Adam, until DW60 itself, with those 3 specials starring Catherine Tate and David Tennant. Have you been keeping up on the Doctor Who news while you've been abroad?
Yes, absolutely, mate. Yeah, I've been following it. And Twitter is my main source. It's weird because I have such a love-hate relationship with Twitter.
Oh, don't we all?
Always, I hate it, but it's the best for like just now when they announced the coloured, version of the Daleks coming. I was like, Twitter seems to be the hub for finding stuff out. So yeah, I'm keeping up with it over here.
Yeah, it's just a couple of weeks left to wait. They are flying by now. So we've got Star Beast on Saturday, the 25th of November, kicking it all off. Wild Blue Yonder follows a week later on Saturday, the 2nd of December, with The Giggle rounding it all off on Saturday, the 9th of December. I hope you're looking forward to it as much as I think most of us are. I'm pretty certain we're all going to watch it. You're coming back to Britain just for it, aren't you, Adam?
Yeah, I can't be watching this on Disney Plus with all their adverts, so I'm coming back to watch this. I think I'm in the minority. I actually like the title, The Giggle. I do like that title. But
it's growing on.
I've got this horrible feeling, Dan, that as soon as the Star Beast is aired, I just got this horrible feeling they're going to drop the other 2 episodes on iPlayer because they're making such a big thing of it coming to iPlayer on the 25th.
I wouldn't dare.
I hope not. I really, really hope not. Because I want that anticipation from week to week. I thought it was going to be one every night. I thought we were going to get 3 consecutive nights, but once a week, I like that in a way. The more I think about it.
It would kill the event stone dead if they dropped all 3 of those all at
It
once.
would.
I agree.
It would.
Yeah.
I
It
really hope they don't
absolutely
do it.
would. Of course, people want different things from their viewing, don't they? We've all got into different viewing habits over the last few years, Ian. Some people, you prefer to binge watch as well, don't you, mate?
No, I don't mind binge watching. It depends on the show, right? So with Doctor Who, I would prefer to watch it every week live. Do you know what I mean? I don't really want to binge watch something like that because it's part of my heart and it's part of my childhood and it's part of my life. To be completely honest, but other shows I can binge quite happily. You know,
I've never binge watched anything in my entire life.
It's fun.
Never.
It's fun when you're talking to a friend on the phone and texting, going, "I'd like that bit" and stuff like that. And we're watching it both at the same time. That's brilliant. That's absolutely. I remember when it first started, I was watching Daredevil with my friend Keith. And we kept texting because we know Daredevil so much. We kept texting each other as we were watching the show. Next episode, texting each other, and it was a lot of fun. But I think binging now is kind of neither here or there. Do you know what I mean? But I do like watching the show when it's broadcast live. I really do, because there's excitement all of its own, isn't it? If you're watching.
So why would you say, Ian? You know, just off the top of your head, why would you say you enjoy doing that?
Enjoy doing what?
For
the love of Who!
I
didn't get that. I got it.
That's what brings us all here, time after time, here on Type 40 Live.
I love that you made Ian say the one with Patrick Troughton with the recorder and his favourite noise in the whole world.
This is what brings us all together every time here on the panel for Type 40 Live, and our friends out there in the live chat. Thanks for all the comments and all the opinions. Obviously, we do understand the situation that fans are in internationally, so please don't think that we're being harsh or we're being unkind. We really do feel for you, but we've got to tell you the truth. There are reasons why these things are happening. But you can drop us a comment, and if we find out more, obviously, and if Doctor Who does grow internationally and these rights issues do get resolved, we will be as pleased as you guys doubtless will be about it. And we'll talk about it here on future live streams. If you want to go back through our playlist. You can find lots more conversations like this in our build up to the 60th anniversary, including these 3 long form live streams, some longer than others. Hey, Adam. The Day of the Doctor one was a monster. I think he's just about recovered. But we've done the Day of the Doctor. We've done the 3 Doctors and the 5 Doctors. So those 3 big anniversary specials. There's one left to go before we get to the 60th anniversary itself. What earth could we be talking about? There's only one way for you to find out, and that is to make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications about what's coming next here on Type 40 Live. I know what's coming next right now, Ian. Boom time, mate.
Wee time.
Yes, it's that time again. The time-honoured Type 40 Live Doctor Who ad break. Ideal place to visit the smallest room in your TARDIS for a golden moment or two of your own, whilst those blessed with a more capacious and enduring bladder, you can stay here and look at faces and hear voices from Doctor Who's long distinguished past. It's a little bit like the Whoniverse, but it only lasts 2 minutes and there's no actual clips from Doctor Who involved whatsoever. But this is the Type 40 Live Doctor Who ad break. We'll be back with more conversation, opinion and debate in a couple of minutes. Enjoy the ads. We'll see you in a moment. Bye-bye.
Around the world, there are many extravagant ways of preparing food. But the latest cookers at your local gas showroom are probably more to your taste. We've the elegant Parkinson Cow and Prospect, for instance, at £389 delivered and fitted. Plus skilled advice, a year's guarantee, and expert servicing. We've also, of course, the widest range of gas cookers in town. So why go anywhere else? It's all at your local gas showroom.
Have you got a little...
Hello, love. See, you and Dave got married then? Got just what you need for supper. Tender beef simmered in its own gravy with a tasty pie crust.
Oh, but I've never made a pie.
No, and you never have to. Ray Bentos steak and kidney pie just like his mother's. She buys them here too.
happy day.
UK Gold. Prime time, all the time.
It's about time.
Good day. We just put in these plug-in sockets, and you can have a new telecom phone in every room. Now, this model has auto-dialing, an alarm, and a calculator. And may I suggest this hands-free telephone in matching colors for the bedroom?
Yeah, that'll be the story for the bedroom.
Telecom are working overtime to get your new telecom telephones to you. When this brochure arrives in the mail, we're in your neighborhood. You can even have one in the loo if you like.
G'day. Is that you, Barry?
Back to Type 40 Live, your live stream Doctor Who magazine show, clocking all the fixed and not so fixed points in the Whoniverse, both on and off screen, including with these two wrong uns. Check. I'm still here with the panel here, and yeah, where are they? Yes, here they are. I've got Simon Horton. We've got the Geeks handbag there, Adam Charlton. We've got starry-eyed girl Sarah Graham, the mega geek Ian David Diaz, and the birthday girl Charlotte Shields. Yes, we're back, Ian. Are you all present and correct, mate? All better now?
Oh yeah, pull the string. I can hear toilet flushing. Yeah, I'm back. I'm fine.
Lovely.
It's emptied.
The ladies approve, mate. The ladies approve. So yes, we're streaming this across Rumble, YouTube, and Facebook, as always, in front of a live chat. Keep the comments coming. We've still got a lot to talk about, but of course we want to know what you think of all of it. Oh, okay. So what have we done? We've done the Whoniverse, sort of, but the launch a couple of days ago, that was two-pronged, wasn't it? And this was something that we'd seen teased a little bit. Readers of Doctor Who magazine had picked up on a phrase used by columnist Scott Hancock a little while ago, and wondered where that was going. Turns out it was going somewhere very, very specific. 42 years ago today, Simon. So on the exact day that we're live streaming this edition of Type 40 Live, a repeat season of 20 selected Doctor Who episodes that made up 5 classic stories was broadcast across BBC Two, stripped across the week in the early evening, wasn't it? About 5
o'clock, yeah.
And branded as the 5 faces of Doctor Who. And this occasion in itself, never mind the stories that were shown, has endured itself too, hasn't it? And the producer at the time had this desire, didn't he, to conjure up the memories, I suppose, of the series past, and to translate that to children who'd started watching maybe since, and endure the legacy, really, for the new audiences and returning audiences. Because at that time, Doctor Who was about to, it was going through a creative shake-up, wasn't it? A big shake-up with the loss of a leading man who'd been there for 7 years. So it was a big creative make or break jump. Here we are again in 2023, and you could arguably say that at the 60th anniversary that it's jump time again, but we're in the age of multi-platform entertainment, of franchises, and that dreaded word streaming, aren't we? So things are the same, but very, very different. Putting together the pieces of all this, it would seem like this project was the secret project that Russell T Davies teased in Doctor Who magazine a couple of weeks ago. So the idea was conceived in July of 2023. They recruited 3 writers, and it was a 6-day shoot in September to make whatever it was going to happen. And I'd say it has to be this. So it's BBC Whoniverse Tales of the TARDIS that was launched on the 1st of November. A surprise drop for what they're billing as a spin-off series, because there's a dramatic component. But the idea is, isn't it? I suppose it's the same issue that John Nathan Turner had in the early 80s. How does one reframe, represent past glories with the greatest chance of success? How would you do that in 2023? We've spoken about this several times, haven't we? So when this launched, Tales of the TARDIS, did you see this, Simon? Did you see the graphic and wonder what it was?
I don't remember. I don't remember where I saw sort of the graphic. I do remember when we first talked about this, as you say, Dan. Sort of, what was it, about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, whatever it was, when it first broke. And I remember we talked about what could that 6-day shoot be. And I remember saying at the time, it will undoubtedly, almost certainly, be just on one set with just a couple of characters, and it turns out that's exactly what it was. And so, yeah, I suppose in a way this is kind of, is this the 5 Faces of Doctor Who? Maybe it is. Will we still be talking about this in 42 years' time? I don't know. Maybe we will. Who can say? Will we do this on the diary in 42 years' time, Dan?
An event in itself. So, Tales of the TARDIS offers catch-ups with not just the Doctors and Gizmos, but with some of the companions of the series past. And just like all the other content that's on BBC Whoniverse, it's all at the tap of a smart screen or a tablet, Charlotte. So what they're doing is they're topping and tailing 6 classic adventures with newly written scenes that feature old faces, our Doctor Who legends, and it's all set against the backdrop of this, as you said, Simon, what is a small set that they're calling the Memory TARDIS. So you put a couple of actors in there and you get them to introduce the story. There used to be a show back in the 80s called The Storyteller that the Jim Henson people used to do with John Hurt, and he used to sort of read out stories like that, and it has that kind of vibe to it. So are you aware of this, Charlotte? Have you been keeping up with this announcement?
Well, Garbage is usually in our chats. He sent me some of the pictures, some of the promotional pictures, and I didn't have a clue what they were for. I just saw. And for me, I just remember seeing those actors. And for me, just to see them in costume, looking in some sort of TARDIS, I couldn't understand what TARDIS it was, but even I was like, oh, it looks like bits and bobs of different TARDISes put together. And the one that really got me was the one with Fraser Hines, because as much as I love Sarah Jane and Ace and Joe, I feel like sometimes New Who has just sort of kept going back to the same classic characters, which is understandable for some of them. And I felt like others have very much sort of been left a bit out in the cold. And as soon as I got into classic, I fell in love with Jamie. I just thought he's such a unique, different type of companion. But he's never really had a lot of time in anything that isn't a Blu-ray set, really. I know Fraser's done bits and bobs there. So the fact that he's come back and I just get to see that character again for 5 minutes, however long it is, I was just like, I loved it. And then when I looked at some of the other pictures, you got some of the first Doctor companions we haven't seen in ages.
Yeah, I've got the breakdown here. So it's this is Tales of the TARDIS. It's written by Pete McTighe. So here's your 3 writers. Pete McTighe, who has he's written a lot of those minisodes that we get on the Blu-ray collection box sets, hasn't he? But he's written 2 episodes of the Not Who era under some bloke. I can't remember his name now. And Phil Ford was one of the writers as well. Now, he was a writer on the Sarah Jane Adventures and co-wrote Planet of the Dead with Russell T Davies, didn't he, Sarah? That's right?
Yes.
I think so, yeah. And Russell T Davies has written some of these as well. It's all produced by Scott Hancock, who is the script editor, isn't he, on Doctor Who at the moment of Bad Wolf. So, yeah, he teased that a little bit in Doctor Who magazine. The music, the specially composed music in this by Sam Watts, who was the musician on the Sarah Jane Adventures. And as you said, the Tales of the TARDIS stars lots of Doctor Who legends: Maureen O'Brien, Peter Purvis, Fraser Hines, Wendy Padbury, Katie Manning, Daniel Anthony, Peter Davison, Janet Fielding, Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, Sylvester McCoy, and Sophie Aldred. It's a slightly odd concept, but I think it's pretty inventive. Have you been reading up anything about this, Adam? Have you managed to catch any of it yet? Because obviously you being in the States at the moment, does this sound like the kind of thing you'd be interested in?
Yeah, so I saw some of the pictures, promotional pictures, pop up on Twitter. I was kind of doing something at the time, so I scrolled through, didn't really get what it was all about. And then I had some time to myself last night, so I knew it was on the iPlayer. And I just went on just to sort of check out the first one and see what it was. And I ended up watching all, is there 6 of them? 5 or 6? I ended up watching them all, and I was actually really surprised how beautiful each one is.
They're really touching, aren't they? There were a few times where I was actually welling up, and it's just the interplay between the two characters. Because you know that the two actors obviously are just loving being there as well and being back together.
I loved that one in particular, actually. So I watched them, but for some strange reason, they're out of order on the iPad. So I obviously watched them in Doctor order. So I started with the first Doctor with Vicky and Stephen, and straight away, like you said, it grabs at your heart. It's strange, this TARDIS thing. It kind of reminds me of the Peter Cushing interior, this messy jumble, and then you've got Jodie's TARDIS on the floor, which reminds me of one of those old 70s fake coal fires that your nan had.
Yes. Of course it does. My mum's still got one of those.
Really?
No, I'm not joking.
Yeah, but that's deliberate, though, isn't it? Because it is all about telling stories on the campfire. That is one of the lines in it, so it's all very deliberate. It actually made me feel a lot. It reminded me of the Sarah Jane Adventures. You know, the set, and the set comes alive, and it's a bit like when Mr. Smith used to come alive. You remember?
Oh yeah,
like the big
There's so many
fanfare.
Easter eggs in
So,
there,
I don't know anything about this, and this is the
I was
first time I'm
hoping you'd
hearing
watch
about
this,
it.
Ian, because I would really want to hear your opinion on this.
No, I don't. So what? But is it just them talking, reminiscing about episodes?
Yeah,
Or
so
is there
what
actual
as I've
acting
said,
thing?
what they are, it's specially shot, newly written actual performances of these actors in character, in their original characters. So they've topped and tailed classic stories with these new scenes, and I think that they've put some junctions in the middle of them as well. So they've edited together the stories. So I don't think there's any cliffhangers in them. I'm not entirely sure.
That is correct. There's no cliffhangers. They're all omnibuses.
So they've all been turned into omnibus editions, and so each one of these presentations has around 3, sometimes 4 interludes, don't they, Simon? With the 2 actors present, cutting in and sort of just framing the moments, I suppose, if there's been emotional beats or action moments, and talking about their relationships and reminiscing. It's a pretty simple concept. We've seen it before in other things, but never with Doctor Who quite this way before.
That's not quite what it is, Dan. That's not.
I'm a bit confused though. So are they showing an old episode and then in between it they cut to the?
It's just literally it's the beginning. Quite. It's like an introduction,
right?
The episode, and then there's like an
outro. An outro. There's an intro and an outro.
So nothing. So
to clarify,
there's nothing in the middle.
No interjections in the middle at all. No interjections. It is just an intro and an outro.
And are the actors, like for instance, these 2, are they playing their characters or?
Yeah, they're in character.
They're original characters, as I've said.
Okay. All right, cool. I'll watch it. I'll definitely.
That's what surprised me, Ian. And that's why I was hoping you'd watched it, because that's what surprised me. It was how into their characters they are. So I thought it was going to be quite twee, and they'd be just sat there doing what they always do, like in the behind the scenes thing. No, it's written as if they've been dropped into this memory TARDIS in character, and they're talking, and even like Seven and Ace pick up on stuff that happened in their era. So Ace is really angry with the 7th Doctor for how they parted and how she was manipulated, and so it is like mini episodes of them catching up as the character. It's taken really seriously, and I think that's why. It is quite emotional watching.
That's why it works. Yeah, there's a lot of. It's almost like it's like the writers of, they're doing this like unfinished business with certain characters.
Yeah,
and it's just a nice way. And it's not. It's nothing that like harms the story. You can take it or leave it. But for those that wanted it, it's there. It's quite touching.
I wouldn't mind watching it, actually.
I'm going to go out on a limb, Ian.
Yeah,
I don't think you're going to like it.
Oh,
I'll warn you now. I don't think you'll like it.
But you didn't like it, Simon? You didn't like it?
I'll just say that seeing, because I've got Peter Purvis and Maureen O'Brien up on screen at the moment. When did these 2 actors perform last together in character as Stephen and Vicky Simon? When would that? When would that have been? What
That would
year?
have been in the Mythmakers in 1966. 65, 66. So yeah, it would have been the Mythmakers when Maureen O'Brien left the series as president.
57 years ago.
My giddy aunts, there we go. That's quite something, isn't it?
Wow,
there you are. Look at that.
Extraordinary. And I've found this, just that idea in itself is so touching. The sad fact of reality is, and we talk about it a lot, don't we, how we have lost a lot of the Doctor Who family members over time. But in some respects, I think we're actually quite fortunate to have as many of them around that we still do. And Peter and Maureen getting into their characters so easily as well. I love Peter Purvis and his space crocs, Sarah. I just think it's wonderful. And I know that that's not everything. That's what they call, that's the feels, isn't it? The warm fuzzies. Feels. That's the superficial side to it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely sentimental, but if you can't be sentimental on the 60th anniversary, then when the hell can you? And it's played for nostalgia, it's played for the sentiment, and it's very emotional, very funny in some places.
The Colin one's funny.
The Colin, I just think it's really sweet.
I think why I love the Maureen O'Brien one is because she has distanced herself from Doctor Who for so
for a
long
time, wasn't she?
And when you watch it in this, not only is she really good in it, you can just tell that she's really embraced the show again. She's honestly, I loved watching that little episode last night. I was really, really surprised by it.
Hold on, so Colin Baker's playing the Doctor in this segment?
Yeah.
Yes, Colin Baker is back as the Sixth Doctor, and Nicola Bryant is there playing Perry again. We've got a quote here from Scott Hancock. He told Radio Times magazine, Tales of the TARDIS is a beautiful 6-part miniseries designed to help new fans access the whole archive of Doctor Who, right from the original 60s era up to 1989. So it's a very deliberate kind of way of leading people into that archive and getting deeper into the Whoniverse app, Charlotte, that we talked about earlier on. So it's all marketing in some respects, but I think they didn't have to go. And it's simple. It's very cheap and cheerful, just like you say, Simon. Just on the one set, but they didn't have to put as much love into writing the thing, I think, as they did. I think a lot of thought has gone into this, a lot of creativity, and the actors just seem to be, I think relishing it would probably be overblowing it a little bit, but they seem very comfortable in their characters and really happy to be there, just as you said, Adam.
Yeah. I mean, Colin's not in his costume there, whereas Peter, when he turns up as his Doctor, is in his costume. So I don't know if Colin just wanted to get away from that costume. It is hanging in the TARDIS.
It is there. Yeah, it's possibly.
Well,
but again, it's all kind of sort of explained why they look the way they do. We're very tongue in cheek. It reminded me a little bit of Time Crash, in a way. It's got that kind of. Yes. That kind of
they don't explain, do they, Sarah? The way that things are rarely explained in Doctor Who. It's sort of referred to, and maybe this and maybe that. But I think Colin looks splendid in this. I think he looks really distinguished.
He does, and he's very good. He's very funny in it. And it's just nice for him all to get that crack of the whip one more time.
They really warm your heart. That's how I would say it. Every single little segment really warms your heart in this, because it is a little bit over sentimental, I suppose, in some ways. But like Sarah just said, it's the 60th. Let's cut it some slack. We want to feel good. And every time I finished watching one, I was just feeling emotional. I was feeling happy. I just honestly I can't just go and watch them. They're really, really nice. I don't know. That's why I want to know if Ian enjoys them, because I know he's hard to please, but
this time next week.
Hard to please. Do you think?
I'd just be intrigued.
Do you believe?
I'll definitely watch it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you believe, Adam, that spell would work with the with the curious, or with people who grew up with the show and haven't seen it since? The people who are floating through the iPlayer and think, "Oh, this has launched. I'll take a peek." Do you think it could fulfill that remit of bringing people back or stimulating interest?
That's interesting, actually, because this is very much aimed. Each one is very much aimed at the fans because it deals with things that hardcore fans would know. So like Peter and Tegan are talking about Adric's death, and so that it's very much aimed at the fans and for the fans. This, but because it's quite nicely done, the music's beautiful, the writing's beautiful. I think anyone watching would be intrigued enough to watch it and then think, well, who's Adric? What was that?
Because
so
the things that they talk about, Adam,
yeah,
I think all you need to know is that they lost a friend.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's enough to draw in new people, but my God, there is so many Easter eggs and stuff thrown in for the fan. And it's like each one is about 3 minutes at the start. Then it goes into an edited version of the story. So the Mind Robber, for example, without the music in between, each episode. And then there's 3 minutes at the end where it cuts back to them. So you're sort of getting 6 minutes tailing each episode of this new material. So it's really quite a nice introduction for anybody who hasn't, watch those stories, for example.
And also, I didn't you think that the choice of story was particularly well
We'll
done?
look at all the stories in a little while. I've got captions for all of the stories, but I think that it's only fair to acknowledge here that Colin Baker has spent the last 40 years. I don't want to use the word bitching, Simon, but complaining about his costume, hasn't he? Here though. I think he had grounds for complaint. Here, he's got his own costume that fits him, that suits him, that isn't an eyesore, and yet there are little nods to his 80s costume in there. If you look, aren't there?
Yes, there's the multicoloured handkerchief in his top pocket. And he's got rainbow socks on. So
and the badge is actually a dog as opposed to a cat on the coat, which I thought was I thought that was a nice little touch.
And have you noticed, Sarah, he's got a spotted cravat rather than a spotted necktie?
Yes.
When he takes his jacket off, Sarah, was the back of his waistcoat like slightly patterned like his jacket?
That's right.
Did I
yes,
imagine
it was. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, for me, growing up, because even though Peter Davison is like my doctor, Colin Baker's a pretty close second, because they were so close together, and I've always loved Colin. Like, if Will Hadcroft's still in the live chat, I know he's a massive fan of Colin. I'd love to know what he thinks of this. But for me, this feels like something that's been 40 years in the making, a real proper Doctor Who costume that Colin Baker can be proud to wear and could potentially appear in again, because I just think it suits him so well. You mentioned a moment ago the scenes with Sophie Aldred and Sylvester McCoy as the Doctor and Ace. Obviously, during that time, there was a greater care, I suppose, was taken, an initiative to develop the role of the companion. Wasn't the same, it was a very deliberate thing that Andrew Cartmel and all the writers initiated at that time. And this does pick up on beats from that, doesn't it? You could say it goes over some of the same ones again, but then again, for the purposes of reframing old stories, I suppose that's pretty apt.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I thought it was odd that they chose sort of specific stories for this whole strand anyway. I would have thought it would have made more sense to use clips of a number of stories rather than one specific story, because I think it's very unlikely that many people will sit down and watch the whole story. I think most people are going to do what I've done and probably everybody else has done, which is just watch the first 3 minutes, fast forward through, and then watch the last 3 minutes.
So you think it would have worked better as a sort of to frame 6 individual clips packages?
Yeah, undoubtedly, I think so. I think because I would have sat and if they'd sort of run it for about sort of 10 or 15 minutes for each of the partnerships, with sort of a couple of clips, 2-minute clips throughout of it, for example. I would have sat and watched all of it, whereas I'm not going to sit and watch 90 minutes of Earthshock that if I want to do
you've
that,
seen 100 times.
I'll watch it on Blu-ray with the episode endings in. So it just seems that seems.
Well, I suppose that's where they're hoping to catch people who probably haven't bought a Blu-ray or a DVD yet, wouldn't it?
With it all up on iPlayer, I would have thought it was just much better to introduce a number of stories that are on iPlayer by using clips rather than one.
Yes, I do see what you mean. Simon Ashley says the interaction between the different characters on Tales of the TARDIS is so touching. It was heartwarming and it brought back memories for me, it's like an extended soap. It really works. The character issues, says Gary Browser. Vicky and Stephen, Jamie and Zoe are wonderful, says Sam. And very moving, says Michael.
Is it closure then? Is it closure for the characters?
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
I don't know if it offers closure as such, because I don't want to spoil these, because I know you haven't seen these either, have you, Charlotte?
No, I haven't seen.
No, it's definitely going to be a weekend watch.
Well, I think it's it's probably conversations that fans have probably wanted to see from certain characters that they just haven't been able, or it can't be. I don't want to say fan fiction, but yeah. But again, it's difficult to talk about. Well, but it's very pretty fan fiction and very well.
What I appreciated about the Sylvester McCoy scenes is that he looks like the Seventh Doctor again. The last time we saw him on screen, and the appalling the power of the Doctor that squeezed him in to a version of his costume there, which made him look very, very uncomfortable and kind of like an Oompa Loompa from the old Willy Wonka movie. And here he looks so much more comfortable. He doesn't look like he's under duress, shall we say. He looks like he's in character, actually in the part. And I found this very, very touching. It's sort of
costume he wore in the movie, Doctor Who the movie, or is it different?
No, it's
a different one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. You know what struck me about this though, Dan, when I was watching it, because whenever we have an anniversary like the 50th, like the 50th anniversary where we didn't have any of the classic Doctors in it, and it was because they're in brackets too old and all this. I was watching these scenes of all these actors from all these eras of the show, thinking they're fantastic. People would watch this. Why are you writing them off for being old? And no, the new audience don't want them. Yes, we do. Put them in the main show. They are good enough to be in the main show.
Yeah, but you're one of the old audience, though. Do you know what I mean? So yes, we love them. So.
Yes, we love them, but I'm saying they shouldn't be written off, because
when
you watch these, you'll see what I mean. They are good enough to be in the main series. They shouldn't just be getting sidelined into little spin-offs and little treats that we get.
I agree.
They are good enough to be in an
I have to agree.
series.
Lots of people in the live chat saying how good Nicola Bryant looks, but I think as well, you're right, Adam. I was impressed. Katie Manning's comic timing is still great.
Oh yeah.
And in these scenes with Daniel Anthony, who played this is Clyde from the Sarah Jane Adventures. And to see them together too, it's very, very playful. I think we see the same with Colin and Nicola back in character too, sort of getting a little tetchy with one another, the way that sort of old married couples do, but very respectful at the same. It's just playful enough. And yeah, I think you're right. I think it is a bit of a shame that they're relegated to these as well thought through that they undoubtedly are.
Why no Fourth Doctor one though? Was Louise Jameson?
Well, we have an answer. We have an answer to this. So obviously, this being the Doctor Who world, people are very quick to point out what we haven't got, rather than what we have. And so there's nothing for. well, it's true, isn't it? There's nothing there for Paul McGann's Doctor, and there's nothing there for the Fourth Doctor, the legendary Tom Baker, either. And Matthew Waterhouse has spoken about this over on Twitter, and he said that. He did speak to somebody about it, but the fact is that his character is dead. Lalla Ward, apparently, she lives in Hong Kong permanently now. You've got Tom Baker, who mostly, I think he records a lot of his audio stuff from home. He doesn't really travel anymore. And Louise Jameson, she was up to her eyeballs in work when they were due to film this. So it was put together so quickly. And they had to film it all in 1 week. So there's nothing there from Tom's Doctor.
Was K9 not available to be wheeled out and just do a little segment?
I don't know.
Well, that's we're back to rights though again, then, aren't we? Probably
that's true.
I mean, maybe something was written, Simon, because obviously if these were put together that quickly, perhaps they started writing them before they approached the people they wanted to be in them, rather than checked who was available for that week in September, and then wrote around them. What do you think's the likely reason why?
I think that's probably a reasonable thought. I mean, it seems such a shame that they couldn't get Louise Jameson, because to have Louise Jameson and K9,
I agree.
Yes, would have been perfect.
That was the perfect pairing to have.
Yeah,
it just would have been a gift. That
but wasn't wasn't the Tom Baker Doctor? He became the creator at the art museum, didn't he?
Yes.
Or is that?
No, that's correct.
Yeah,
50th anniversary special.
Yeah. But I mean, it would have been great to have Tom, wouldn't it? But you know, if he's not available and he doesn't travel,
We might still get something Tom related. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Well, it does
not in this
seem.
format.
Yeah, it does seem that this is just season 1, a first block of these. It would appear they intend on making more, and maybe with some of the same actors, because some of it is left sort of open-ended, isn't it? You know, for people who've watched them, they do. There's no narrative as such, but they reconnect with certain elements of the plot. For example, when we last saw Jamie and Zoe on screen, which and they kind of undo something that was done at the end of the War Games, don't they, Simon? I mean, you could say they leave it open-ended. Do you think that's likely to annoy some older fans to go back to something that's been a part of Who mythology for over 50 years and tinker with it?
Well, of course it will. Everything. Doctor Who fans are very, very easily annoyed, aren't we? So I don't doubt.
Yeah.
Something in this really annoyed me, but other things didn't annoy me at all. So
do you know what they should have done? Sorry, Simon. Do you know what they should have done? They should have got Fraser to play the second Doctor, as well as Jamie. That because he's really good as the second Doctor.
He does do a great second Doctor.
Yeah. They should have just do a split screen technique where he's just talking to himself. That would have been great. That would have been great.
All I was going to say was I think God, sorry, Charlotte, go on.
I was going to say I've not watched, but just off what you guys are saying, I can't help but have that feeling again of God. You should have planned this better. You should have actually given this more time.
Yes.
Because if you could have had a bit more filmed, if you could have planned a bit better actors and actresses.
It's money, though, Charlotte. It's always down to money.
Well, no, I know it's money, but I'm just thinking like thought. It's I can't understand how nobody thought on the team.
Well,
bring in any sort of classic people for anything would go well, because we know, like in the 50th, we had the 5-ish Doctors. We've had the Blu-rays get more and more like actual short films now for the advertising, like the trailers. We've said, you can see more money has been going into those trailers. The more, so they know. So I just can't help but think
they are considered to be canon as well, and so are these. Russell T Davies has said that these are canon, Charlotte.
Yeah, this is what I mean. So there's obviously a thought, there's a want, but it's like they just can't really plan it. Almost, that's what I'm trying to.
Yeah, this was. I can't really spin this in any other way. Russell T Davies came up with the idea for this, and he conceived it just in July. It was a kind of afterthought. They were worried. They were worried, Sarah, that they hadn't done enough for the 60th anniversary, and so I don't want to say he threw this together, but it was sort of thought. It wasn't an impulse that they went with. He got a couple of writers, booked some time, and. So it's regrettable. Charlotte's right, isn't she?
She is, absolutely, because I think we've just a bit more forward planning. It's sad to have them gaps, but I mean, I'm personally happy, with what we've got, and just getting any more classic Who related stuff, because that was obviously the disappointment of the 50. If there was one, it was we got the 5-ish Doctors reboot.
Really, I thought it was the Night of the Doctor for me.
It's still it was still a mini-sode though. It was okay. It was again for what we got. It's but again, like Simon says, we're just Doctor Who fans. We're never fully satisfied.
And I am going to be so far the sole voice of dissent here, because I'm sorry I've kept out of the conversation so far. I thought they were pretty awful. I'm so sorry.
Really
and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody that wants to go and watch them. But
don't hold back, Simon.
They are a huge. They're a huge disappointment. I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong. It is brilliant that they've done it. Thank you for doing it. I would say that, and it's brilliant to see those characters back again. And you're right. I got some lumps in my throat, and they are very emotive. And I think the idea behind them is brilliant. I think the writing is atrocious. I'm sorry. I think the music is unforgivably
Yeah, I don't
bad.
like the music either.
The
I don't think it
music
fits.
I hate to use the D word, but it's Disney. We are becoming. It's turning into Disney Doctor Who. It is.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I'd pin it down to Disney, but I think it feels. I think it feels very generic fantasy.
Well, the problem for me, this is the crucial problem I've got with these is yet again it goes back to what I was saying about the Whoniverse logo. This does not feel this is not classic Doctor Who. If you're going to bring back these classic characters, which, as I say, I'm so happy to see them back, that it should have been done in a classic style, and instead it's been done in a modern Who style, and the two for me just don't gel. The music is just execrable.
Would you have done it even more minimal then, Simon, with maybe against black drapes, that kind of make it look like the classic show, the way that the guys
Well, I don't
made...
like this. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Dan. I don't like the set. I think the set's horrible. It's just messy. It's overthought.
It does look messy.
I would have had. I love what I love about the sets is the is all of those little what do they call them, memory bubbles, or what is it? What is the word these days?
Member berries.
Thank you very much. That's the word.
Yeah.
Where you get all these you get lots and lots of references, and so it's brilliant to look at the background, see what's there. But it could have been done in a neater way. I don't understand why there's a console on the ceiling, why there's bits of consoles, and it's just messy for me. And so I don't like the set. I don't like the writing. It's clunky. It's clumsy. It's
some of it
literal.
is. I agree. Some of it definitely
It's
is.
contrived. It's cliched. It's childish. It's CBBC standard. I'm sorry.
I think the whole concept is undoubtedly contrived. But I think that what they do is they step over that quite adeptly by not trying to come up with some elaborate fantastical name for why and how people are there. They're just there. So they all start with these actors just there, and each of them knows about as much as the other, which I think does allow them a certain amount of leeway, but it never and perhaps for some people results may vary with this, but it's always trying to outrun the fact that viewers, that we the fans are going to realize that it's really contrived.
And I think the other part of the problem is that it feels a little bit too clever for itself. It's like okay, we've got all these classic actors back, we've got all the classic characters back. That's enough. That's sufficient. So just write some really trite CBBC dialogue for them. I'm really sorry. It just feels really clunky. And what I'd say is,
I've got to watch it now.
You look at
maybe you won't like it.
You go back to School Reunion and you look at the scene with Sarah Jane Smith meeting the Doctor, and it is utterly beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful pieces of Doctor Who you'll ever see. This is like being hit over the head with a wet kipper. It's just.
I think you're talking about the difference between having 3 minutes to play with and having 45 minutes to play with.
No, I'm not actually, Dan. Because
you can build up to it.
That scene in School Reunion is about 1 minute.
Simon, there was a good 15 minutes of build up to that moment where we were all waiting for that moment. They haven't got that luxury with this.
They haven't.
Maybe
but
they should have been given
the subtlety. It could still have been done in a subtle way. I look at, and don't worry, there's no spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen it. I look at that first one with Stephen and Vicky. I can't believe that they did the cliche of them walking back to back, bumping into each other. Oh, hello.
No, I'm not going to watch it.
It's infuriating. I was quite horrified seeing characters that are my life and actors that I adore and are my life in some sub-CBBC skits. It's horrible.
Jack Thursby is with you. I love classic Who, but this doesn't interest me much. Is there something wrong with me? Again, there's no wrong answers here, Jack. You know, you're at type 40. We're fine with everything.
Well, I will say, Simon, just about the set. Yes, it's very small, and they just kind of threw it together. But maybe I'm reading too much into this. But for me, it made sense that there were just stuff everywhere because that's how your memory works. There's fragments here, so that it made perfect sense to me that there was a bit of console there. and there was there's
Fair enough.
Amy Pond's dolls, and then you've got the Eighth Doctor key to the TARDIS, and
I just love all that, Sarah. But I would have done it on a less messy set.
Yeah.
I would have done it it's just too busy for me. It's too contrived and too busy for me personally.
That's interesting. I felt so
I haven't seen it, but we all know that it looks like it's been rushed. I mean, listening to what Simon said, it looks like they just shoved everything in there. Let's just get some member berries in there.
Well, they spent a very long time with it, Ian. I tell you what, the amount of work that's gone into it's phenomenal.
I think to dismiss this myself, I don't disagree with everything you're saying, Simon. I think some of it is written clunkily, shall we say. And I do think the whole thing's contrived, and I don't like the music, but I can't really dismiss this as member berries when the whole concept behind it is to reframe classic stories in a repeat season. I think this is nostalgia repackaged, therefore to trade on what we've seen and loved before. It's kind of the whole point.
I think you're right, Dan. I think what I'm trying to say, and I really do want to be clear on this, I love the idea, and I think it could have been done brilliantly. For me, it's down to the writing. It's the direction is poor, really poor. I'm sorry.
Should have got me in.
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. But in my estimation, the direction is poor, and I think these could have been absolutely beautiful. They just needed a lighter touch.
Some of it's quite creative, though, Simon. For example, when it cuts back to Perry, and there's that one feather drifting down from the ceiling that she catches, or the bit where Ace turns her head and it goes into the water, and the way that they do those transfers from the widescreen back to the old 4:3 dimensions, they bring in the picture, or in the case of black and white stories, they gradually take out the color, don't they? And that's quite creative. That's nice.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. That's what I'm saying. This isn't all bad. Please don't misunderstand me. This isn't all bad as far as I'm concerned, but it could and should have been so much better. It's just not quite right. For
the comedy's definitely broad. But I mean, a lot of these actors, just the same with the actors that I grew up watching. We've got a quote here from Russell T Davis, who says that Tales of the TARDIS is one of the greatest delights of my career. To see old doctors and companions reunited, still fighting the good fight, is a perfect way to celebrate the Doctor's 60th birthday. Again, it's a very Russell T Davis statement. What else was he going to say? But I don't. Again, I see what you're getting at, Simon. I don't think this is perfect, and I agree with you, Charlotte. I think really it took them until the summer to think that this might be a good idea, but better late than never.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously we're going to have to do a follow-up to this when everybody's seen it, but in years to come, when we haven't got
Simon won't be there.
when we haven't got Peter Purvis and Maury and everyone, are we going to look back and think, oh well, at least we've got this? Or we're just being a bit,
I enjoyed them. As I said, I enjoyed them. I take on board your point, Simon. I just thought they were just a nice little love letter to the characters.
I really enjoyed them as well.
The dialogue is clunky, I'll give you that. But then I think I'm kind of used to that with the way Doctor Who's been written recently. So it didn't really bother me too much. But I think there were some really nice moments in those little 3 minutes. But
I think there's a lot. In my view, I think it's a mixed bag, and there is more to love than not. And I think I appreciate the general effort. Charlotte, do you think you might try and get these in over the weekend? Are you tempted for your birthday weekend to?
I was going to, like I said, just because the novelty, and like I said, some of the actors that I've wanted to see for ages are finally back on the screen. So that was enough, honestly. And I think, and for me, if it's a bit cheesy, I can just sort of go, well, hopefully if they do it again, they might get a bit more plan. They might, from what I'm hearing, like I said, I just feel like this almost feels like a first run. And if they do another run, hopefully they'll learn and they'll get better and they'll have that time and that sort of, actually, let's give this a proper bit of its own development cycle, not just a quick, oh God, we need to do something for classic fans. Right, let's just do it quickly over 2 weeks, sort of thing.
Really? There is a gentle concept to this, and a kind of narrative that they could extend beyond this point, Charlotte. Happy birthday. Thanks for spending the evening with us. It's been great to see you. And see you on the next one, hopefully.
See you next week.
Charlotte, take care.
Happy birthday, Charlotte. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Happy birthday.
Opinions are divided in the live chat, obviously between people who've seen them and those who haven't. Sadako24 says, I'm pessimistic on seeing more from Tom now. Sadly, he's getting up there in age and he's not as mobile as once he was. He's obviously still performing for Big Finish. And Matt Party's up, our real life time traveller. Traveller? What's a traveller? Says bloody awful. Written by a 5-year-old with agendas. Simon, he's thrown in agendas there. I think
I only saw one agenda, but
I spotted one, and I'm cross about it. The more I think about it,
I'm cross about it. What was it?
I enjoyed. I'll just look at this from John Yulden says, I enjoyed the episodes, but I get tired of them not being able to resist preaching to the audience. Now, there's a couple of references in these because they are small. I don't really think it's worth making a big meal of, in all truth. I'm not particularly reactionary when it comes to this stuff, but there are a couple of references to climate change, for example, which is something that the BBC are going all in on.
I have to admit, I laughed out loud because I was like, "Oh, we can't just have families and grandchildren." And
it's a divisive. It's the fact is, Sarah, this is a divisive topic, and there are words that phrase, climate change. If they were to say that this character had gone off to become an environmentalist, that's different. Simon's an environmentalist, but you don't find Simon gluing himself to the B-42 every weekend.
And you're right, Dan. And it does seem odd that there's two huge things about climate change in there. It's not one would be okay, but the second one, when the second one comes along, it's a bit like that feels a bit like being hit over the head. The second one.
There's also the suggestion too, again, that maybe, I mean, I think it's there deliberately vague, that they sort of hint that Nyssa and Tegan are in a lesbian relationship again in this.
That's what's made me very, very, very angry. I have to.
I didn't miss that. I just thought it was just following on from the trailer.
It is very explicit. Tegan literally says, I was in bed, I just said goodnight to Nyssa.
I completely missed that.
Right at the very beginning. Firstly, I mean, the whole thing is complete and utter nonsense anyway. It doesn't fit in with canon because Nyssa is not there. Nyssa, she's not around at the moment. She's not on Earth. And that's made clear in the trailer for season 20, the Pete McTighe teaser trailer for season 20, but the Blu-ray. So it's just nonsense anyway. So it's very gratuitous. It's thrown in. It's horrible. Leaves a very bad taste in the mouth.
In the audio dramas, which we've been told are canon as well, by Russell T Davies, Nyssa is married and has children, or has been married and has children. So I don't really know. But yes, in that, they do. She does say I said goodnight to Nyssa. Now, I say goodnight to people on FaceTime all the time. Doesn't mean that I'm in bed with them. So you see what I mean? It could. It's vague. It is vague.
But I still want to know. I want to know how she's. Sorry, Dan.
But I think that is deliberate. I think because it's been mentioned before about the possibility. I think it was in that Sarah Jane, that Goodbye Sarah Jane thing they did for lockdown that Russell wrote. When it was Sarah Jane's funeral, that Nyssa and Tegan went to the funeral together and that they were in a relationship. So Russell has been to this world before. So whilst he's not overtly stating it, he's suggesting it again. And this is what I've got a problem with. I haven't got a problem with same-sex relationships. Of course, I have no problem with lesbians. What I do have a little issue with is the idea that we could and should, at every available junction, kind of pollute classic entertainment and classic characters from a bygone age with modern day concerns and fixations. I think that those characters, for example, a character like Bill Potts was created in the 21st century as a lesbian, as this rounded character that we met as when we met her, she's a lesbian. It's one part of her personality. To go back and retrofit characters that we've lived with for 40 years and say, but they're also this and that, and it's also dialed in to present day talking points and identity politics. I think that's I don't want to use the word wrong, but I think it's ham-fisted and unnecessary, and I think it's arrogant of Russell T Davies to do that. What do you think, Simon? Am I being harsh?
Well, also, no, you're spot on, and also personally, I think you're spot on, and I would add into that it's just utterly nonsensical when you go back and you watch the Peter Davison stuff with Tegan and Nyssa in. There's just absolutely zero hints that there might even be the remotest possibility of the tiniest idea that there might vaguely be a lesbian relation. It's not there. It is not present. They are clearly not in a lesbian relationship, or even beginning to think about maybe in some
the sisters. It's big sister, little sister. I always
that's exactly
with Adric as the little brother. Yeah,
they're best mate sisters in that, and that's what I find irritating because it's just nonsensical. Do we really honestly think that Tegan and Nyssa would be in a lesbian relationship? No, I just don't believe it of those characters. It's just not feasible. It's not believable. It's ridiculous.
Do you worry that if these carry on, Simon, that Russell may, because obviously Russell is only one of 3 writers on this, that he's not going to be able to resist tinkering with other characters in a similar way?
Really clearly can't.
It does seem to be a thing with him. What do you think about that, Adam? Are we overreacting?
Well, Joe, it's funny because the only bit I picked out on that I was slightly annoyed about, and I did sit there and think, oh, maybe I'm just, maybe I need to let it go sort of thing. It's been this was actually the whole, again, I don't want to get into spoilers for people who haven't seen it, but if I say the whole Jamie and Zoe memory being wiped and stuff. It's weird because that immediately made me go, oh no, why are you redoing that? So don't really, but then again, I was like, oh, come on, it's been years, just go with it. But there are little bits like that.
See, that didn't bother me, Adam. That didn't bother me. But then I thought afterwards, but the Tegan and Nyssa stuff did, for the reasons that Simon's, because to me they're a happy family, they're sisters, and it was a family unit. But this didn't bother me at all with the memory, even though I love the war games. And then afterwards I thought, well, it probably will bother some people, particularly the memory thing.
Writing someone else's thing, I think I just sort of thought, well, but then there is a grey area, isn't there? Because their memories were wiped, but then in the 5 Doctors, again, it's a bit ambiguous, like what actually happened with their memories. So maybe they're just trying to reset it and clarify it.
I think the thing that frustrates me with it doesn't actually bother me, but the thing that frustrates me with it is that if we're going to be completely sort of specific about this, is that in the war games, their memories aren't wiped totally. They're just merely wiped of everything but their first adventure with the Doctor.
Right. Yeah.
So actually, there was no need to do this, Adam, was there? They didn't need to retrofit this explanation in as how they can remember each other, because they would have been able to remember each other because they remembered their first adventure with the Doctor. So
I suppose what I'm saying is it's more about my reaction to it. So bringing it back to what you were saying about Nyssa and Tegan, I suppose I'm sort of saying to myself, at some point things move on and change, and there are things that we don't want to change. I'm wondering how much of, as a fan, do I worry about things that really don't need worrying about, and how much I should get worried about. That's the point I'm making.
I've tried to reflect on it as well. I thought, well, here I am a little bit, like I say, I mean, I haven't spent all night stewing on this, but it did get under my skin because it's my childhood. I had crushes on both Nyssa and Tegan. My God, and because when you're a kid, when you a little boy like that, you latch on, you move, your crushes sort of move around a little bit, and you think, well, maybe if I was a bit older, I could go out with Nyssa, but that's how you look at things, isn't it? I would imagine, people, whatever your orientation, I would imagine it's exactly the same thing. And so to go back to something that's 40 years ago, and kids who were kids then, I say, but that character you felt was like your big sister, or you had that actually, you wouldn't have stood a chance anyway, because it turns out she was a lesbian. It just doesn't need doing it. None of this needs touching it, in my opinion. Take it to the bridge, Simon, says Peter Harrington.
I'm not sure what that means, but okay.
That sounds like a very cool take you to the bridge. I
think
don't
it's
know.
I think it's a good thing. 100% Simon, says Joe. Says John Yulden. Oh, bar humbug, Simon, says Simon Ash.
Sorry.
Not on board with that. And Jack Thursby says, I believe Simon should be organising the 60th anniversary contest.
Dear God, no.
Crawl into him. You expand the man's head. I thought I saw handles in a roundel in the 7th Doctor.
Yeah, it was there. It was
there.
I missed handles. I missed a lot by the sounds of it.
This is another thing that I'm just going back to, like Simon's point. I think Adam, you brought this up as well about who were these tales designed for? Because if they're trying to get new viewers in, they're not going to care who's in a relationship with who.
No, good point.
It's the BBC. It's the BBC that explains everything.
In this instance, I think it's Russell T Davies unable to leave anything alone, and I'm starting to. As I say, I've always been a fan of Russell T Davies. I've always enjoyed his writing in and outside of Doctor Who, but I can't see why there's any need to go back to characters and to bolt them in to modern day identity politics like that, and to nod to a fraction of the audience and potentially take something away from a far greater majority of people.
And I agree, and that's why it just feels a little bit that's why.
Yes, he did. He wrote the Davison material. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't quite know the breakdown, Adam, but he's spoken about how much fun he had writing that one because Earthshock.
I think he only wrote that first one. I think the others were Pete and
I think he
Phil.
did, and it's interesting because the bit where they, and again, don't worry, there's no spoilers here, but the bit where they're talking about Adric, where the Doctor and Tegan is talking about Adric, is beautifully written. That's lovely, and so that's what I'm talking about. It's that kind of degree of subtlety that I would have liked to have seen throughout, rather than the goofing around and the jumping up and down and pressing buttons on TARDISes and all that Disney-ish kind of goofiness. That's what I didn't like. Whereas that beautiful scene where they're talking about Adric is perfect. Although I still want to know how the Doctor managed to get Adric's badge unbroken.
That's just because it was a memory. Silence.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it is? Okay, I missed that, Sarah.
All this stuff isn't necessarily real. It's all been conjured up by this memory TARDIS.
Right, okay.
I just assumed he'd nipped down to a Forbidden Planet and got one of their badges.
I just got it. I just think I was a little bit miffed, Simon, when they're describing what Adric was like, and still neither one of them could actually say something nice. Again, that's why I'm wearing this justice for Adric.
They definitely hedge their bets, don't they, Sarah? They do. They skirt the issue of whether they actually liked him or not.
Well, it is a time machine. He can go back and get the badge, can't he?
I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't save Adric. He just gets the badge.
Gets the badge.
They get Adric.
Steals the badge just as he's about to blow up.
Well, it was made out of gold.
We've got a picture here that Russell T Davies shared of his meeting with Wendy Padbury and Fraser Hines there. Now, we've been talking about this for a little while, but I thought of you actually, Ian, when I saw this in particular, that Fraser Hines was back, because you've said, haven't you, that they keep bringing back this character and that character and the other character. Why haven't they brought back Fraser Hines as Jamie? He's still alive, he's still working, still very healthy, he's certainly still got it. Why haven't they brought this character back? And here they have. But Russell T Davies said tomorrow on BBC iPlayer, Tales of the TARDIS, many years ago, Jamie and Zoe had their memories wiped by the Time Lords. Can love and friendship overcome the power of Gallifrey? Wendy and Fraser back on board for the first time in 54 years. And this is nice. It's nice. It's the Doctor Who family, Ian.
It's great. I love Fraser Hines. I think he was brilliant as Jamie. And there's so many lines he said I haven't watched a lot of the second Doctor's episodes, but there's so many lines that he said that made me laugh. I think he was a brilliant character. It's a shame that it took so long for them to actually bring him back in some kind of way. But he's back.
It is a shame, isn't it? Because this man's never really been off TV. He's recently been in that Outlander show on Stars. Apparently that's fantastic. A comment here from Cliff Maxwell said the room is referred to by the Seventh Doctor as a memory TARDIS. So it could be that this memory TARDIS is a construct of us, of the fandom. And there's a line in it that the Fifth Doctor says as well. He says that time is memory and memory is time, which of course is absolute nonsense. But it sounds great, doesn't it?
It does sound great, yeah.
The other line that I have to be honest, did absolutely love is the one that Jo comes out with, and she says, "The TARDIS will show you the way it always does."
That's
and I have
nice,
to say that gave me goosebumps, because isn't that just about that's the life of a fan, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
it
thought
is.
that was lovely. I thought that was lovely.
Russell was
again,
besieged. I agree with you completely. Russell was besieged with people over on Instagram, Simon. He's very active there, and he was obviously talking this up with his picture of Fraser and Wendy there. But immediately people were asking the kind of questions that fans always ask. Is this canon, though? It's all well and good, but is this canon, though? And he says, absolutely, and a kiss. And that's another very happy fan there. So it's throwing hearts at the guy. So this is what was on people's minds. Because the show, Doctor Who, has a history of incorporating repeats, doesn't it, into the narrative of the show. If you look back to the end of The Wheel in Space there, this was a framing of the very first ever Doctor Who repeat, wasn't it? With a kind of memory machine within the TARDIS of its own. What was happening here for Simon, for the people who don't know?
Yeah, that was exactly what happened. Victoria had just left. Zoe came on board. They were going to be taking a break in the run of Doctor Who, and so they screened The Evil of the Daleks in its entirety. As Dan said, well, okay, then to be precise, they'd repeated the first episode of An Unearthly Child the following week, but this was the first proper repeat, was The Evil of the Daleks. And so to introduce it, the Doctor literally puts on his little memory band, as he's got there around his head, and says to Zoe, okay, then this is all at the end of The Wheel in Space. Okay, then if you want to join the TARDIS, I'll show you what you've got to look forward to. And the following, and there's a brief clip of The Evil of the Daleks at the end of it. And then the following week, they just start a complete rerun of The Evil of the Daleks, as though it is being shown to Zoe, so she can get an idea of what she's joining in when she joins the TARDIS.
And she didn't run; she stayed.
And she didn't run.
That was really clever, especially for the time as well. I love, creative decisions like that. How forward thinking.
That's brilliant. So clever to think of how, because again, what we've got to remember, Sarah, is in those days, things just didn't get repeated. We are used to repeats nowadays. Nothing was repeated in the mid 60s to speak of. And so they felt they had to justify why they were about to do a 7-week repeat, and that was literally the canon justification they came up with for repeating Evil of the Daleks. Crazy.
Russell was also fielding several comments, just as we have been on this edition of Type 40 live on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. So here he is with the blurb, talking about the Doctor and Tegan meeting again, and he goes through the whole spiel, but he stipulates, I have no news whether these will ever be available abroad. Sorry. Right now, they're iPlayer only for BBC license fee payers. Happy 60th. So again, it's very, very clear, very, very clear there that he's got no news on that. Obviously, it's not a never ever, but he's very clear as to the reasons why. Do you think that was enough for the fandom?
No.
Of course not. Of course not. I love this, but I'm beyond excited. But if it's the first official Whoniverse spin-off, then shouldn't it be on Disney Plus for the rest of the world? But Russell again stipulates very clearly here, no nonsense, no Disney money went into this, only the BBC license fee. So it's for license fee payers. Again, I appreciate it's a bitter pill to swallow, but I think Russell to be out there fielding those comments like that, so in plain English, not trying to fob people off. I would imagine that Russell does feel for people who can't reach the material, but
I feel sure this stuff will appear on Blu-ray or DVD.
I was going to say, could they not appear like on the 60th anniversary Blu-ray?
Undoubtedly, I will be amazed, Sarah, if it doesn't come
probably
to
will
home
be.
media release.
But we'll also remember, you know what I mean? So,
how did that go again, Ian?
Glenn Piper says, I think in Doctor Who fandom, if there are things you don't want to consider fandom, that's fine as well. That's the joy of Doctor Who. It can be anything you want it to be.
True.
It's a nice sentiment. I think, you should do whatever works for you, Glenn. Yeah, thanks for that comment. I do. For a long time, I was a kind of anything that's on screen is canon, but then 2018 series happened.
I think you can, as a fan, you can trim the fat. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I would like somebody to explain in the chat, please, unless anybody on the panel knows how Nissa and Tegan could be in a relationship. I thought Nissa was light years away.
I think it all comes off that farewell Sarah Jane funeral thing they did for the lockdown, which, as far as I know, isn't they weren't canon, but maybe they are now, because obviously that was the project that largely led to all of this. I don't know. Cliff Maxwell said,
absolutely. In the chat, please tell me where Nissa is. Sorry, Dan, do carry on.
Cliff Maxwell says, Simon, absolutely everything is canon until it isn't.
Brilliant, Cliff.
I like that, Cliff.
So I think it would be a shame to leave the topic entirely without mentioning the stories that they've chosen. Russell T Davies chose all 6 of these stories, and they've gone with the Time Meddler for the first Doctor. We've got the second Doctor represented by the Mind Robber from his final season. The third Doctor. The third Doctor, they've chosen the 3 Doctors, and Earthshock is there for the 5th Doctor. Vengeance on Varos is the choice for Colin Baker's 6th Doctor, and it closes this block with the Curse of Fenric for the 7th Doctor and Ace.
I must be honest, Dan, I couldn't understand with the 3 Doctors. I'm sure there's a very good reason why they didn't use John Levine or Richard Franklin rather than his name escapes me, playing Clyde. I don't know why.
Richard Franklin at present is still recovering his health, isn't he?
I guess it would be that. I'm not sure about John Levine. I'm sure there's a good reason why they didn't. It would have been nice to see John Levine back. That's all I'm thinking.
I know that John was involved in a big charity thing throughout the late summer, so he may not even have been in the country.
Maybe not.
Again, this is what I'm saying, guys, about... if you're new to this, maybe you've got an inkling of who these characters are, maybe more so. But unless you've seen the Sarah Jane Adventures, you're like, who's that rando?
Yeah, you're right, Sarah. Yeah. And then the fact that they go on for quite some length talking about his relationship with Rani and whether he should go out and ask her out, and that felt a little bit like, what's this got to do with anything? It's just a bit random. You're right.
Did he the Mind Robbers? Is it colorized or is it just
no?
Okay, all right.
Some of these aren't even remastered yet because they've not been worked on for Blu-ray. So they exist in the best form that they've got them now, as far as I'm aware. The content varies on iPlayer, so some of them have been restored, some haven't. Well, this is a nice collection of stories, but I don't really get why they've chosen the 3 Doctors. I love the 3 Doctors as a story, but I would have preferred they go for an actual, just straight John Pertwee on his own story. There's plenty of choice. Yeah. There's plenty of choice, Ian. What do you think?
I would go with the Sea Devils when John Pertwee that was the first time the Sea Devils appeared, right? John Pertwee. Yeah, so I would have went with that one. That one's pretty. I only watched that recently, actually.
So is this just Russell's personal preference, or is he trying to think?
I think these are the ones that he felt would play best. I don't think he's picked his 6 favourite stories, for example. I think he's picked 6 that he felt would serve the purpose and meet the remit of getting people onto this app and using this as a springboard to go and watch more.
I think, to be honest, that's a fair point with the 3 Doctors, for the same reason that John Nathan Turner picked the 3 Doctors in 1983. It's a good anniversary story. I get you what you're saying, Dan. There's a lot better Pertwees out there, but I understand the logic of picking.
You know me, I'm not a Pertwee guy, but I just felt a bit sorry. I thought, well, you shouldn't have had his time, just him in the spotlight.
Well, maybe Simon's right, because if you introduce the three, if you watch the 3 Doctors, you'll understand that it's the same person. You know, the Doctor is all those 3. So
I think it does help.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Time Meddler is kind of a pivotal story, the first time that another Time Lord's introduced into the show. So people who are used to mythology being a big part of Doctor Who and that sort of undercurrent of the last of the Time Lords, some of that is in there. So I can understand why he's chosen that. The Mind Robber, it's unlike any other story, really. It's very absurd, isn't it? Isn't it, Adam?
I think it's very... Sorry, Adam, go on before I interrupt you.
No, I was just going to quickly say, actually, because I was just watching the new clips at the start and end of each one. The Mind Robber was the one that I just let carry on, because as soon as I started getting into it and the lava, I actually found myself watching a good 10 minutes of it, and then I was like, oh, it's 1 a.m. I just need to watch the rest. But I do really like Mind Robber. It is very watchable.
What's the girl's name in this one?
Zoe.
Zoe, do you know she's very cute, isn't she? And I think they were trying to do the Dinah Rigg thing, weren't they, at the time?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's quite a canny choice, because I mean, the Mind Robber, it has got that kind of like toy maker vibe to it, because obviously you could take the toy maker because it, it's incomplete.
But every time I see him, I always laugh because he comes, Carry On. He's the guy from Carry On. Do you know what I mean? Every time I see him,
Thinking of Peter Butterworth, for me, I think this is a good strong choice. But the thing is, when you're putting together a cluster of stories like this, it's kind of like a fantasy football thing for Doctor Who fans, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody's going to get pissy about one or two. There's always one that we wouldn't have chose, or whichever Doctor.
Well, also, you've got to remember, in particular, with Patrick Troughton's Doctor, they only had that or the Crotons to choose if you were going to go with Zoe and Jamie. And let's be honest, it's the Crotons versus the Mind Robber. I know which I'd go for.
Yeah, it's
So is the actual episodes themselves, is it really bad quality that they're showing?
No, bad quality.
No, it's fair. Obviously, it's
really good.
It's poorer compared to, because the intros obviously filmed in like ultra HD, but no, it's not terrible.
It works.
They're not going to be any worse than the transfers put onto DVD. I wouldn't have thought. Obviously, Earthshock is a seminal story, and I think that's possibly why Russell earmarked this one to write the extra material for himself. It's 40. How old is this now, Simon? 41 years.
41 years, 1982. I mean, this is by far the only choice that you could ever really have for Peter Davison. It's honestly, if you were going to choose a story to introduce a non-fan to Doctor Who with, Earthshock is as good as any to start with. It's a damn
Simon, I watched this with Josh today because he'd never seen it. And
really?
He was enthralled.
There you go. How old is he?
He's 15.
There you go. It still works, doesn't it, Sarah? As a story, it really hangs together.
Well, if you remember when we spoke to Matthew Waterhouse at Hooverville, Simon, we interviewed him and had a chat, didn't we? And I mentioned to him that this was a proper popular culture touchstone, and he looked at me as if he'd never thought of it like that. I can't believe that he'd never really looked at it that way in 40 ideas. But I think this is proper seminal Doctor Who. But it's good also to put stories in there that the fandom's always liked and that have been somewhat overlooked. I mean, you could say the Sixth Doctor's era, it's all overlooked, but Vengeance in Varos is a strong story.
It's probably I'd say it's probably one of the more accessible stories for the Sixth Doctor.
Word. That's the word, accessible. Yeah, we keep coming back to words like that. That's what we've got to remember, isn't it, Sarah? Just like you've just been saying.
I think I would have gone for Attack of the Cybermen personally. I think purely to mind you, they've got a shocking, of course.
I don't think you could. I mean, my favourite would probably be Revelation, but
I would have put Revelation.
That's a bit too heavy, I think.
But also, Sarah, that's the opposite of what you were just. That's actually quite inaccessible. The Doctor's hardly in it. So they'd probably been pissing in the wind a little bit there, rounding it off, obviously, with the Curse of Fenric, which sums up the Seventh Doctor's era quite well, doesn't it? And I don't think it rounds out the relationship there, but it's very, very deep. And there's enough sort of cheap monster thrills in this as well, Adam. There's a lot of running around, isn't there?
I think Curse of Fenric's a good choice, actually. It's because it's got a lot of heart in that story, what with Ace, meeting her mum and stuff. So there's not a mum, is it? Yeah, her mum is the baby.
It is.
Yeah, so there's a lot, there's more to it than just a sci-fi show, but it's got lots of good action in it as well. Yeah, it's a good choice, I think, that one. I mean, Remembrance would have been a good one, but then again,
I think I would have gone for Remembrance.
But there's still a lot. There's still a lot, because you've got, the two warring factions and Davros, and if you don't know, I suppose it could be a bit overwhelming.
That's true. Yeah, this has got more of a sort of Earth feel to it, which might be a point. Yeah.
Are the Daleks conspicuous by their absence, Ian? No Dalek stories there.
Well, I haven't seen any of them, so I would assume it was for a reason. Maybe they didn't have the copyright to use the Daleks and this kind of thing. So I don't know.
It's interesting.
But we've got the Daleks coming on the day, so that's
In colour,
Right.
in colour, everybody.
Wow. Wow.
Yes,
The original Daleks, of course.
I'm really
The
excited to go.
the original,
to go
you
and read
might
about
say.
that later on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I am very excited with that.
Fab stories, says Peter Harrington. Not sure which one he's talking about, but whichever
all
one.
pretty fab.
It's just nice to read some positive. They are all fab. So these are some stories that I wouldn't say they're my favourites, but I do understand why they've chosen them all. Vanessa Law says of the Mind Robber, it's one of my favourites. She's watching over there on YouTube. What else?
Can I just throw something in the chat? This is really, really good. You might find it there from Mark Milford.
Yes.
Mark Milford says, this is brilliant, actually. I was thinking that Tegan had a daughter named Nissa.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
That makes a lot more sense.
I love that, Mark. I'm buying that one.
She has got children. That's been stated in.
We take it all back, Russell. We take it all back. I praise that. I love that.
Yes.
It just goes to show you can always find an answer for anything that you don't like a Doctor.
I'm having that one, Mark.
Here's hoping. Here's hoping, right? Here's hoping that is the answer.
I love that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
There should be more little girls called Nissa. Let's get
There
that.
shouldn't there? I love that.
I completely agree. Obviously, the elephant in the room is if this is the memory TARDIS, and if it can manifest anything from memory, surely it could bring Adric back to life.
This is exactly what I said on because I replied to Matthew Waterhouse. I don't know if he is, and I said,
no, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
Look at Adric's face. He's like, what am I doing in the wrong franchise?
But I agree with you, Dan. I must be honest. It would have been nice to see Matthew.
Just his voice, and I'm just looking at the camera, and that it inferred that they can see him, but we can't.
Yeah,
that would have worked.
I think it would have been nice to see Adric back. I think that they've done the character something of a disservice by not bringing him back. When, as you say, Dan, they could have done as a memory. That's the whole point of it. But again, maybe they will. Maybe if you say there's maybe a second series on the way,
there's more to come. And I believe the way that they leave it with these various threads and the idea of the memory TARDIS, that this could definitely be revisited. I think we've teased people. There's some people in the live chat going off to watch some classic Doctor Who right now, and some of these very stories on the iPlayer or just from their DVDs, which I think whatever it is, if you're going to go off and watch classic Doctor Who, we endorse that 100%. You can find Tales from the TARDIS Series 1 by the looks of things on the BBC Whoniverse hub at the BBC iPlayer there for license fee payers. It's all laid out along with a link to Whoniverse itself, and you can play the episodes direct across any device, smartphones, tablets, or on your televisions, desktop PCs, and the rest. So welcome to the Whoniverse, Tales of the TARDIS. This does feel like, again, a next step towards building this brand for the future, to future-proof it. And whilst, Simon, I do think about all the thousands of pounds I've spent buying this stuff on physical media over the last 35 years, I don't begrudge it a new generation of viewers if more people can find it, particularly as we're only 3 weeks away from Doctor Who's 60th anniversary. Oh, heaven knows. There's exciting announcements coming every day, sometimes twice a day. I'm trying to keep up. I'm trying to make sure I've got the headspace. So I've started deleting things, Adam, things in my memory that I don't need, like the plots of later episodes of Dallas, because I'm going to be watching them all anyway. So I'm deleting all that from my memory. I almost deleted my PIN number the other day from my debit card. It was a bit like when the TARDIS swimming pool went. So
Don't jettison the zero room, Dan. You might need that.
Yeah, don't jettison that. Yeah.
Just 3 weeks left, everybody. In the meantime, you can go and watch classic Doctor Who, all the spin-offs, or Doctor Who Confidential there on the BBC iPlayer app if you're in Great Britain. Obviously, we do hope there's a solution coming for our American fans too out there. We're with you. We do hope that these things, that it all drops into place. This is only the beginning. I really do feel that.
Welcome to Type 40. Was that good enough? I hope so. Or exterminate, exterminate, exterminate.
Mad Dalek. Dalek.
You got to
He
have
does
a mad
lose his
Dalek.
rag, doesn't he? He definitely does lose his rag.
He almost ran
Dear
me
me.
over. The
Yeah,
damn Dalek.
one more thing.
yeah. Yeah.
One more thing, or is that two more things? Adam, have you got a shoot, mate?
Well, I do. It just depends. How long what have you got left?
About an hour.
Because I do.
Yeah.
Do you want to look at some fan art with us for 10 minutes?
Where's this
I can probably
Primark,
hang
by
on.
the way?
Hang on, I can't hear Adam if we talk over him. Adam, what are we going to say, mate?
I was just going to say, I do love a pretty picture, and I can hang on another 10 minutes, but that's probably about it. So I don't know how long. How long are you?
Pretty pictures.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
We'll be here for 10 minutes to look at some pretty pictures. So
Let
yes,
me see
this
a pretty
is
picture before I go.
Yeah, so this is the part of the show where we scan the view screen, don't we? Deep into the temporal schism, which can be a dangerous thing to do, particularly on Curry Night. And we have to locate, don't we, the very, very best in Doctor Who fan art, traditional art, digital art, cosplay, and crafts. It's all game to be dragged onto the view screen here for us to have a good goosey gander at. And if you are a fan artist or you know a fan artist, you should get on our radar on our view screen. Please send them our way. Send us their Instagram, their DeviantArt page, whatever you want to call it, because we love to see what they've cooked up at any time, but particularly in the 60th anniversary, if people have been inspired by the forthcoming celebrations. Thanks for the comments, everybody. People have a proper laugh about this, and people asking where the Primark is. I'll try and find out which branch of Primark it is, Tony L and Ian, but we'll do our best to get on that. In the meantime, though, take a look at these pretty pictures. We've got this from Poorly Aged Who, and this is a simple portrait of the First Doctor and the 15th Doctor. Looks like they're going out on the pool there. He's got his wingman. What do you think? Hartnell's the wingman, and Shooty is out on the Raz. What do you think this is going on here, Sarah? What's going on?
I think that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, off to the Weatherspoons on Friday night.
Weatherspoons, yeah. I just love the First Doctor's face.
He's just not impressed, is he?
He's not impressed. I just find that absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, this is an artist, Poorly Aged Who. Poorly Aged Who. So this is digital, but I do like. There's a touch of the Hanna-Barbera about the eyebrow action there, Adam.
And the eyes,
and
the eyes as well. The eyes look very cartoonish, don't it? The eyes. So yeah,
nice job. And also, I do like this kind of art as well when it comes to an anniversary, because we've got that feeling of the first and the last. Hashtag Hartnell first. Everybody remember Hartnell first. Another artist coming up as well. I think we have art by this guy on most weeks. This is another one from Mark D. Lewis. This is his celebration of season 12. A beautiful sort of montage of the various stories that make up Tom Baker's first season. Simon, what do you make of this? We've got the Nerva beacon in the background. We've got all sorts going on.
Yeah, absolutely love it. And I love those little Daleks right centre up on the cliff. It reproduces that wonderful shot in Genesis of the Daleks when they appear over the cliff. And I also love. I'm a massive fan of the Cybermats from Revenge of the Cybermen. I've always loved them, so it's great to see those there as well.
Lovely. They were a lovely design. You're absolutely
really
right.
Good design. Really good.
They've grown on me.
Is this done by hand? It looks
painting,
yeah. This is beautiful. I know I say this every week, but if I'd got a massive house, I would just have it covered and just
put them all over the walls. Yeah,
it's oil paint on canvas this Ian, very traditional.
Fantastic.
And I love the fact that by having the Nerva beacon background, the transom corridor from left to right, he's just really cleverly captured the whole theme, that umbrella theme of the season, of the reusing of the Nerva beacon sets from the beginning to the end. So it's all done in just really nicely in chronological order as they were broadcast. Really clever. That love it.
I really like this. I really like this.
Isn't it?
It reminds me of something, and reminds me of a certain artist, and I can't quite place it. I feel like I've seen this. Like, is it Andrew Scaletta or someone? It just the style of it.
It's got a feel of.
I think you're talking about the front cover to the double pack VHS of the Sontaran Experiment and Genesis of the Daleks.
No, I'll tell you what I'm thinking of. I think it's do you remember when we used to get like in the late 80s, the Monster book. You know, that you get a big hardback book of the Doctor Who monsters.
Oh, you're right.
Get a cover like this. It reminds me of that.
It's Monsters. It's a book I think called Monsters.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking of. But I really like it.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh yes, I know the one you mean. It's
You know
all
what I
painted
mean?
artwork in there. Yeah, I've got that too.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of. Yeah.
Results may vary on that one. Yeah, I think it's an acquired taste, that book. Gary Akers, the Retro Doc, says he loves the green trail left by the grub.
Oh yeah, I hadn't noticed.
there's a clam.
There's so much. Oh, the clam. The clam's
on there.
there.
You
the clam's
can
on
track.
there.
Oh, I didn't see. Yeah, I didn't see that either. But if you track the trail of the grub going back, he's coming out of the vent. Look.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
Oh, just the detail. Oh, that's brilliant.
I'm glad I stayed just to see this.
There you are.
So beautifully done by Mark D. Lewis, a fabulous fan artist. We go back to his work a lot. I think we looked at his Carnival of Monsters piece just last week, didn't we, Simon?
Yeah.
And to finish off now, I've got this. So Wild Blue Yonder is the second of these 3 Doctor Who specials. We're getting this one on Saturday the 2nd of December. This is the one we know hardly anything about. No, I think we're all hoping.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's the mysterious one, isn't it, Ian? And this poster itself is quite mysterious. We talked about it last week, how we don't know. It seems to be the eye view of a monster, maybe looking at the Dr. Donna and the little fella covered in rust. What's going on there? We don't know. But it has inspired a fan artist to put this together digitally. They suspect that all is not as it seems and that the reality of it, the spell, will be broken at some point during this episode, and we'll find out where the Doctor and Donna really are. They've got a Tesco's there, Adam. Picked up some Stay Fresh.
I thought it was a big salami or something. What is it?
What is it?
It's loaf of bread, mate.
It's loaf of
Oh, it's
bread.
a loaf of bread. All right.
Tesco's finest.
So Donna's gone for the old meal deal with a small bottle of classic cola. Well, the Doctor, obviously being the bloke, she's made him carry the basket. So he's got the basket. All right, don't cancel me, girls. It's just a joke. But then they've got a loaf of Stay Fresh white bread on the go. And that's just the beginning, look. So they're in the booze aisle, so Donna could be there sometime.
I just love the look on Donna's face in that as well.
That's amazing.
It's a look.
Sadly, I have no idea the identity of this artist, but I do think it's a stroke of genius, Sarah.
Oh, it's brilliant, yeah. But what a perfect way to round this off. You can't take things too seriously. I know we tend to as fans, but yeah, you got to laugh as well.
Peter Harrington says, back in time for the 10p loaf. He's gone for the whoops sticker on the back.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to see. Yeah, fabulous stuff.
I bet you're glad you stayed for that, Adam, aren't you? That was totally worth it.
Definitely.
Again, if you're a fan artist or you know a fan artist you think ought to be on our radar, send them our way. We want their artwork up on our view screen and maybe get them on the show too, and they can show off a little bit, talk up what they do. Get in touch with us through our social media.
Sorry, Michael M had a picture on Twitter, and it was Colin Baker with some Jaffa cakes and the TARDIS behind me. You see that one?
I know. I did see it, yes,
really
but
cool.
I didn't see it in time to get it into this show,
Yeah.
so it'll be on the next show.
Right, cool.
Instagram and X at Type40 Doctor Who. We did have a request earlier on, so I'm going to play this again. A little bit of art. We're going to play this again. This is this is what we could have got really. So there was the Marvel fanfare.
It's perfect, that, Dan.
Like 40 Doctor Who. Let us know your opinion on that. Spread the word. I think I'll put that on Twitter later on, actually, come to think of it. Yes, Instagram and Twitter at Type40 Doctor Who. There, or join us in the Type40 Facebook group with all those fans of the classic show, fans of new Doctor Who, and everybody looking forward, I think, to what could be coming next. It better be good. No, they're going to see. He's away on his toes already. What does he know that we don't? This had better be good shooty. I tell you, I think we're all rooting for him deep down. Adam, thanks for staying. It's been great to see you. Spend some time with you. I know you're heading back to the UK, so we're not likely to see you for a little while, are we? But yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much are you looking forward to the 60th anniversary?
I am very much looking forward to it. I'm probably in 7 or 8 at the minute. I'm hoping next go. I'm looking forward to it 10, but I'm hoping. I'm hoping the hype levels go up a little bit over the next couple of weeks, because it's exciting, but where's the buzz? You know, let's get the hype up a bit.
Adam needs to be buzzed.
Yeah, give me a buzz.
Thanks.
That's the quote of the stream.
Thank you for your company. What's going on at the big blue box lately? Are plans coming together there for your anniversary coverage?
It is a mouthful, isn't it, Dan? Yeah, we're once I'm
is.
back in the UK, we'll be firing up the blue box again, and we'll be reviewing the new episodes. I'm really looking forward to that. I love it when we get episodes to review. So, yeah, we'll be
Great
back.
stuff. Sarah, with your badge for mathematical excellence, thank you for your company. Great. You're off on holiday now, aren't you? I can't remember where you're going, but
I'm going to Dorset for a couple of days for bonfire nights.
Very nice.
Very good.
Yes. So,
Penny for the guy.
Penny
Do
for
they
the
say that
guy.
anymore?
So I might go and call in on Nick Briggs and Chris Chibnall while I'm in the neighbourhood.
yeah. Take a soft turd down to Chibnall's place, pop it through put it on his porch.
We don't endorse that.
We
Type
don't
40 doesn't endorse that.
Although talking of that, and very, very quickly, you might recall in the summer show that I was telling you about my Terror of the Zygons set.
I do.
That I ordered. It's finally right. It got lost in the post.
The
But it's
swines.
finally here. Very lovely. But as I said on the Character Options website, it came with this free set.
Another one.
And they're giving them away for free. Right, listen, I don't want it. But so in the spirit of,
Ian wants it.
No.
If anybody wants it, because there are people who do like these characters, I don't want to, I don't want to bin it. I don't want to destroy it. I'm not that kind of person. If you want,
yes,
Yaz, Ryan, and they are, to be fair, look at the sculpt. They're actually pretty good. I mean, they look more,
Hang on, let's
animated from the actual characters.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So generally, if you want this, DM me on Twitter or contact Dan at type 4. I will send it to some lucky person. It's that, Dan's getting it for Christmas.
They're definitely more animated than they are on telly. I tell you what, Sarah.
Please drop Sarah a DM. Someone.
Yeah. Because it has got its fans, and if you want it, you don't want to buy it for it.
Yes, mate.
I will send it. I mean,
Well, just
obviously,
send
it
it
has to be, the UK.
Sorry,
I'm sorry, Americans. I'm
It
sorry
says it
you
all,
missed
doesn't
out
it?
on that lovely
It does.
opportunity.
They're giving it away free. My God.
And then if they want to, they can just sort of chop them all up. When they get there, they can send us a photo of them just chopped up into little pieces if that's what they want to do with it, can't they?
You can always chuck it in a bonfire when you have bonfire night. Yeah,
That's true. Yeah,
we can always do that.
Of
Penny for the
course.
guy.
Yeah, I'm not destructive like that. If anybody else wants to do it, I mean, I missed a treat. I should have sent it Charlotte for a birthday. It's Char's birthday next month. Char, guess what you're getting?
Mark Milford's just said you could take it back to B&M the day after Christmas.
That's a great idea. Go and get some money for it.
You might just about get 99p back on it, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, not to be sniffed at. Well, have a great holiday, Sarah. It's been lovely to have you on. Ian, I'm sad not to be able to see you at present. I'm going to send this guy a webcam or something. We're going to be able to see his cherubic face light up the screen on further editions of Type 40 Live. Of course we have. And Simon, thanks for your company as ever,
Stay
mate.
away from the sparklers. Stay away from the sparklers.
Yeah.
They're dangerous, man. They're dangerous.
Yeah, send her a bloody DM for Christ's sake, somebody. And whilst you're there, please follow Type 40 on X and Instagram. You can find me on social media too as the Spacebook on Instagram and X, wheezing and groaning, ranting and raving about all things geeky inside and outside of the TARDIS. We are all living in the Whoniverse as of now. I think some of us have been for a little while anyway, Adam, but Whovember official is up and running, and we'll be back with more Type 40 Live next week. Of course we will. Thanks again, everybody. Fabulous comments. Keep them coming in the comments section too. But that's it for another Type 40 Live. We always have the time if you have the space. Enjoy Whovember. It's all coming. Just 3 weeks to wait, everybody. Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye. Like, subscribe, share, comment.